Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with a very, very special guest. This man is 200 people into one. One of the funniest comedians that we have met. Let me tell you what, we're going to go down a whole bunch of roads you don't even know who you're talking to in this moment. Pay attention. Keep your eyes open. Ladies and gentlemen, we got Noah Ryan in this building, everybody. Round of applause.
Thank you.
Noah Ryan in the building. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fucking great.
Awesome.
This is great. I love this setup. It's cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
A lot of hard work and grit.
Yeah, a lot of cobwebs for the holidays. I love
We
it.
bred them spiders.
Cody Ray did that. This man is a maniac with it. I tried to do it.
He breeds worms and spiders for some reason.
Yeah.
We were outside
Keeping them
decorating.
up till after Christmas.
We were outside decorating, and I did a webbing, for about like 30 minutes. I thought this shit was good. I look over, and Cody Ray is still on one bundle, and he's stretching it out to where it actually looks like this. And I'm like, how do you make it look like webs?
Dude,
Mine
he
looks
just-
like built
he's
up cum, dude.
Spider-Man.
He probably
I
took
think.
This shit's
chunk, was
terrible.
like,
He just unfolded it and laid it on the bush.
It was terrible. It was not good at all.
Like being Spider-Man at Halloween is probably so unfair. Like he's just like his whole house probably. If like in the Marvel universe, his house probably looks dope at Halloween.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
he's
he
like,
just decorates real quick. Got it.
All right.
People could
Got
probably
it.
hire him, dude. That's a little side gig.
Yeah, that's
Hell
just time
yeah.
consuming, bro.
Spidey for hire.
oh my god, he won't even have to save people. He can make his whole income solely off of decorating for motherfuckers.
Well, he didn't get paid to save people, did he?
No, he didn't.
See, that's why he needs a side hustle.
Well, yeah. I'm like, why the hell is he saving these people in the first?
Well, that's
Honestly, if I was a superhero though, I'd be like, yo, I'm not saying I want to cut, but I need a cut of something. You know, like a key to the city or like.
Have you guys seen The Boys on Amazon?
Yes.
Oh, I absolutely love
He
that
said,
show.
he said heroes for hire. I'm like, that's what that is.
It is.
Yeah,
That is
1000%.
wild. That show
And
is
it's
wild.
great.
I haven't
It's
seen the
phenomenal.
spin-off show yet because I'm waiting for all the episodes to come out.
Yeah, I haven't
but
watched
I haven't
the,
seen that either. I was told by an old dude that was on the podcast to watch it, and nobody was watching it. I think you watched it beforehand, didn't you?
No, I just watched it.
Oh, okay. So it was. I just finally joined on it. He kept talking about it. Like, fuck it. First episode, bro. At the ending of the first episode, I was like, I can stick with this.
that show is
I
probably
can watch
the
this-
wildest show
Some of
I've
the
ever
scenes
seen.
are like, you didn't think that was going to happen.
And the curveball at
For
the
sure.
end for Homelander to be built up as the president Nazi, basically, by Adolf's wife, I think it was, or something
Yeah.
like that. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell happened there?
Wild. This is human imagination never ceases to amaze
Oh,
me.
the
dude, it's
part where
great.
she squeezes the dude's head like the watermelon.
Oh my gosh, okay.
kinda
If
hot.
you're this, I pitched this show, but it's not for everyone. I will say that. Like, it's
Okay.
not a show like the Boys. Like, it's not for everyone.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
yeah,
not at all.
They-
Not
they-
even close.
There's so much language. There's so much violence. Like, the violence is like, because you think, all right, I've seen violence, and then you watch The Boys, and you're like, whoa, like that is not
I
like.
think I saw the
That's
spin-off of
wild.
the girls.
The beginning
Yeah.
of the episode, or the ending of the episode, is literally a woman exploding.
Yeah.
by A Train
Yeah.
running through her.
Oh, yeah. and
There's
he's holding her
there's
hands.
no
my-
violence. It's all normal
my
shit,
God.
whatever. It's perfect, honestly, for a first episode for you to understand truthfully what the hell you're getting into when it's like a whole build-up thing, whatever, and you get to know this relationship and this woman, and then out of nowhere, she's gone because A Train just ran 1 billion miles per hour through
Oh my
her,
God.
and it's literally just him holding her hand in the air, and he screams, loses his mind. He goes, oh, sorry. And you're like, what fucking show did I just watch?
And the craziest part is that whole show, as unrealistic as it is because it's about like people with superpowers, it is so real in the fact that if there were people with superpowers, that is exactly how it
1,000%.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's not going to be the Marvel like, oh, we're just here to save the day. It's going to be like it's going to be capitalistic as
Yeah.
anything,
Like
and
Homelander,
Oh, for
like
sure,
you
though.
motherfuckers are so
I'm
ungrateful,
like,
and I
I need,
swear to
like-
God, I could beam through every
I need
one
at
of
least,
you.
like
Right.
a couple
Like,
Applebee's
worship
gift
me.
cards.
yeah, no,
something.
yeah, you gotta give me something, or I'm just gonna let you get hit by a train. Like,
And you're
For
100%
sure.
gonna get those like good souls, like what was Starlight that
Starlight,
goes
yeah.
in there and she thinks it's all perfect. That's what she's wanted to be her whole life and everything. That she gets in there and realize how corrupted it is, and she's like, "What the hell is going on, dude?
wild.
Have you seen it,
No.
bro?
You gotta watch
Everybody
it.
stop
Yeah,
talking
you
about it
gotta
right
watch
now.
it.
Watch it.
You need
Yeah.
to watch that shit. It's fucking fire.
and it's so addictive that like you'll finish episode 1 and then you'll realize that it's like 8 a.m. and you started watching.
I
it, like
I binge watched it so hard, dude.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't. Every time I came home, I was like, I need to watch.
Was
The
it
Boys.
funny?
oh yeah,
Hilarious.
it's hilarious.
Oh.
It's hilarious.
You sold
It's
me,
hilarious. It's graphic. It's
Everything
literally
you would want.
everything in one show combined. I don't.
It's everything
there's,
you
there's
want,
Not
I promise
there isn't
you.
a weak point. I don't think. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm like, no. I think everything is cool.
Even when I thought, because like
and
every
the
show,
casting is dope too.
every show
Yeah.
gets a little stale.
Yeah.
And that show, when it started to get stale for me, I started to get like a repetitive, we're just watching a storyline grow. Then it hit with the Nazi stuff. And
Yeah,
you're
it
like,
switched up.
Where the fuck? And like me even telling you that shit, you're kind of like, you'll forget for one. But for two, when you get into it, you'll be like, whoa, what the hell?
Speaking of shows with Nazis, have you seen Hunters? That show is wild. It's on Amazon. There's
Okay.
2 seasons, and it stars Al Pacino and Logan Lerman.
That's fire.
And
Okay.
I seen
it's
the preview,
about
yeah.
it's about Jewish people who hunt down the remaining Nazis from the Holocaust and execute them.
I have to watch
That's
it.
sick.
And it stars Al Pacino. It's like a hit squad of Jewish people that are hunting down these like former like SS agents.
That's
a
such a good
perfect Al
concept.
Pacino.
Oh, it's
role,
great.
too.
And there's 2 seasons, and they're awesome.
I
It's
love
great.
that. I would definitely have to
Hunters. Yeah.
Hunters.
Hunters.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Hunters
Yeah.
with an S.
Yeah,
With an
yeah,
S.
definitely.
Wait,
check that out.
I think I might have seen that a little
No,
bit of
you
something.
didn't.
It might have been a TikTok.
Okay, yeah.
I've been seeing
Their
TikToks and TV
TikTok-
shows thinking I watched the whole thing.
There's so many things that I think I've watched a lot of media, and then I see a TikTok, and it's like, man and woman fall in love, and then there's a bomb, and I'm like, whoa, how have I never seen this movie? This sounds awesome.
I would like to digest this. What is going on
Yeah,
here?
and then it's like, all right, what streaming service is on? All right, it's the one I don't have, so now I gotta get this streaming service to watch this one show.
Get the free trial.
Yep.
You got to get a new email to get it. Oh, wait, no, we can't be putting the plug like that. What are you talking about? Well, I use the same email and I use the same
Yeah,
account
same
and I
time.
pay like a good Samaritan like I usually do.
Netflix had this loop for a while, and I'll talk about it because it's closed now. But when during the pandemic, we were like, we don't want to pay for Netflix over and over again. But they had this free trial loop where every time, if you just use a new email with the same card, you could get a free trial. So my brothers and
Yeah.
I were just constantly making emails and getting a free trial from Netflix.
Yeah, I
But
did that a few
they
times.
patched it
Yeah.
since, and I pay for Netflix now. So
Shiesty
Hey, you
people.
can't get mad at the player, dude.
No.
He's just playing
Yeah.
the game. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I
How
love
long
that.
did you think that went on before like they actually like?
Oh, a
patched
good
it?
year and a half.
Oh yeah, you got your money's worth of
Oh, yeah.
Netflix
Fuck yeah.
for sure.
Hell
Because
yeah.
they were 3-month trials at a time. So
Also, during the beginning of that, there was some fire TV shows that came out for Netflix,
yeah.
and they were starting to catch fire again. So
Oh,
that
yeah.
was kind of nice.
And now with this actors strike, there's like everyone's watching things that they missed because there's no new stuff coming out.
Right.
It's all just like, oh, well, I didn't get to see Suits or Mad Men or
I
whatever.
like.
so-
He loves Suits.
Loved it.
I started watching Suits. I
Except,
got
like-
off of it, but
Like half of the last season, I was like, this kind of sucks.
Okay.
well, let's dive in a little bit here. We are here sitting with Noah Ryan, a man that has at least 200 people inside of him. That was
That's what
Pause.
That's what she said?
pause.
Yeah.
Quick pause.
Michael
she
Scott.
said. Michael Scott. That's what she said.
We saw you at the comedy contest. It was one of the roughest nights of my life in the recent past, of the worst storm that we've ever been through. We've talked about it nonstop on the pod.
The stage was flooding.
You were,
We had to
I
keep-
think
we had
if
to
I'm not
keep
mistaken,
moving
oh
the-
no, we had another comedian on that was also at that show, and we didn't talk about the actual storm that was going on.
That's why.
So
my
explain to
gosh.
the people the elements that you had to go through as that show was going on, and you're in a contest for Dave Chappelle tickets.
Yeah, man, you're sitting there. First off, like I got like drenched coming into the bar because it was raining,
Yup.
and then I sit down and I'm finally drying off, and then everyone else comes down, they sit down, and then people are trying to like go outside to smoke, and it's like it is downpouring. Like I think, like I understand, like people got to smoke when they got to smoke, but like. You're not gonna be able to get your
One of
lighter
the
to
worst
work.
rainstorms that everybody's
Yeah.
seen in a
You're
long
not
time.
you're not gonna get a smoke off like in this rain. So they open this back door because this bar, it's the setup. You walk in this front door, and then the bar is here, and then there's this room in the back where we were doing the event,
Uh-huh.
and then there's a back door, and then the back door has a patio. And so people were trying to go out on the patio to smoke, and they kept opening this door, and water was just gushing under this door.
A
Just
wave.
gushing.
A
And
whitecap.
it was probably like 3 to 4 inches of standing water. Like it was deep, and it kept like moving closer and closer.
Yeah.
We had to move like the mic cord. Like
Yep.
I think you guys at one point you might have even had to move your like recording equipment. Like it was like
It got to a point where like it was like the second or third comedian, and we're sitting there, and I just look over to the left, and I just see this. We knew it was coming in. It was already like it was going up against the wall. But when we saw it coming towards the stage, me and Bill are in the middle watching somebody. We're supposed to be really paying
keyed in
attention.
and focused,
And I look
yeah.
over at Bill, and Bill looks at me, and I look at the water, and I look at Bill, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on out here. We're getting flooded right now, Bill. There's a fucking pool coming, and it's coming fast. And there's this guy, this poor dude, just sitting there, just eating his chicken. Nice ass fucking shoes
Bro,
on.
that's what it caught my attention because I was looking at dude eating his chicken. And I was like, damn, that looks good as fuck. And then I looked at the ground. I was like, oh, his shoes about to get wet.
Dude, these
and
nice shoes were just about to get smoked with this wave coming at him, bro.
Yeah, white shoes. I was like, bro.
Did you warn him?
No.
No. We told him.
There was even a comedian, I think, that made a joke about it. There was something about his shoes and getting the shoes wet. I don't even remember,
But okay, so to go into content, that was one of the worst times. And like I told you previous to this podcast, I was in a terrible mental state because I have real bad PTSD on the road and shit from rain and shit.
Sure.
And so I'm freaking the fuck out. I can't focus for shit in this. You went on stage, took my mind off everything. I was laughing my ass off at your set, dude.
I appreciate it.
I was like, bro, I'd have never heard somebody impersonate voices in the way that you do and hit as many solid ones as you do. You went down a whole list at the end of it, and it was phenomenal. So I want to ask you first off, because I think we know this answer to begin with. Who was your favorite person to impersonate?
My favorite impression, it really changes. Like, I don't know if there's like, you might have a favorite color for years, and then maybe like it alters over time. But like my voice, like it's a cheesy answer, but my answer is like whatever makes people the happiest. So like if I'm in a room full of people that are over the age of 70, I love doing classic impressions. So there's a classic movie star, Jimmy Stewart. He's in It's a Wonderful Life, the Christmas movie.
Okay,
and that's like one of my favorite impressions to do. But like young people don't know who that is.
Right.
So it's like, well, no, he sounds like this. See, if you look him up, just do that. See, he's one of the best actors of all time. There, but I did that the other night.
Shit.
I did that the other night at a mic. I did that the other night at a mic because it was all these comedians are going up and bombing because they were doing their modern like sex jokes and life of like being young and being hip, and it was like a room full of people in their like 50s to 70s, and I was like, these jokes are not gonna follow with these people. So I went up there and I was like, I'm gonna try my vintage stuff, and it killed. It was great.
Fuck yeah.
I was like, let's go.
That's
But,
cool. Let's see like you like read the room better than the
and
rest
it's
of them.
and with
Yeah.
impressions, it's like any comic. Like if they have material, like there's certain material that's going to work with certain things. And same with like you guys. You guys have a podcast. Like there's certain questions that are going to work with certain guests. There's certain things.
Right.
So you have to like read the room and figure out. All right. So this age demographic. Like if I have kids, like who like Hey Scoob, who like it's Shaggy, yeah, Reggie. So they're going to be like, yeah, that's great. And then anyone in the middle, like political impressions, like obviously Trump is probably my biggest impression. Well, folks, we're on the Boogered Up podcast, okay? Probably the best podcast we've ever seen, okay? You look at the pods, Rogan's pod is great, but the Boogered guys are fantastic, okay? But yeah, so it's about finding...
That was great, dude. Hold on.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
In my head, the whole time here, I'm like, I know somehow Donald Trump today is going to give Boogered Up flowers.
Yeah.
Right? It's gonna be fucking wild.
Yeah.
Who's your most requested by people? Like who?
It really depends because, like, obviously, I'm most known for the Trump voice just because of the different things that I do with it.
Right.
So that's really requested. But people really like Biden as well. Even though my Biden, like, I'm working on it. I more so have the gimmick of it, and the voice is like slowly. Like, it took me 4 years to do the Trump impression, and then he was out of office, and I was like, well, fuck. Like
Well,
he's
You worked
gone
on that.
now.
You worked on that impression for
4 years. Oh
Holy
yeah.
shit.
There's actually a video up on my YouTube channel. It has the first time I ever made a video of Trump, and he was doing the State of the Union address in his first year in office.
Okay.
And it's awful. It's so bad. It's so bad.
But don't you love looking back at that?
I do, because then I
bro.
posted a video right after that of me almost doing the same thing, and it sounds so good.
Nice.
And so, like, I can see the progression of, because people are like, oh, you're so good at that. Like, how do you just do that? And I'm like, well, it took 4 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. Now, there are other impressions where, like the Jimmy Stewart voice I just did, that was the first impression I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like, just came like that naturally. So, like, it really takes time.
That was a good
for
ass
some
snap.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that was a dominant ass snap. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't snap. So if there's a good snap in the room, I'm gonna acknowledge it. And he just went pop, and I was like, golly.
Yeah, no. So there's some impressions it's like, all right, I can just do this. And then there's other impressions like Trump. It took 4 years to get all of the Trump-isms that I call it, or all of the Trump-isms, all of the different things that make him Trump. And even now, I'm still, if I see something that he does, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let me add that.
That's cool.
People get that. Like, I don't know. I just there's so many things to people, and that's why like George Clooney, he has a very baseline voice. Like, I don't do a George Clooney. I have a friend who does, like, probably the only impression of George Clooney. But there's a reason, because he has a very normal bass voice. There's not a lot of, like, interesting things about George Clooney other than he's George Clooney.
Right.
So for that, you couldn't really do a George Clooney without saying, hey, this is George Clooney.
Right.
And, like, because there's no, like, ism.
Yeah,
Like,
you
there's
can't spot
like,
it out.
Like, Christopher Walken has a lot of isms and babes. He talks in parts and phrases that make it one unified piece. So
Can you do me a favor? Hold on. I'm going to stop everything right now. Oh, my God. Can you do the Saturday Night Live intro of him? Where
the classic, the cowbell?
No,
Or
no,
are
no.
you talking
it was,
just the intro?
No. Where he's
Which
Gotta
one?
have more cowbell.
No, the
'Cause
oh
that
my
one's
God,
easy.
what's the band he introduces? Oh my God.
Oh, Foo Fighters.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite Dave Grohl bits of all time. Foo Fighters are actually, they're doing SNL in a couple weeks. Nate Bargatze's hosting. But yeah, he's like, Foo Fighters. It's great. Yeah, no, that's a classic bit. I love that. But
that's so good.
Foo Fighters. Yeah, he's got such a way he breaks up words, and Jay Moyer does probably Jay Moyer and Kevin Pollak do probably the best walk-in. I like my walk-in. I think it's pretty good, but everyone has a walk-in. Like, even if you don't do impressions,
Yeah.
you can
kind of hit it a little
do a
bit.
walk-in,
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
are like, "That's walking."
Yeah.
Like, no one's walking around like having their own contest for who does the best walk-in. Like,
Right.
no one on the street is like just, sir, can you do a walk-in? And you're like, da da da, and then they're like, that is the best. This man is the greatest walk-in of all time. Like, it's just kind of like everyone does a walk-in, and it's cool. It's
I
like,
love that.
I think it's a rite of passage as a guy to do a walk-in impression at some point in your
Yeah,
life.
I've done it
Everyone
couple
watches
times.
Pulp Fiction, and they're like, this watch was up my ass for 45 years. This uncomfortable piece of metal, and now it's yours. Like, it's just... Everyone has a walk-in. So there's different voices that have the tisms that you can pick up and it make it identifiable other than just the voice. Like Obama, he didn't really have anything that was like unique that he said. He had
a
such
pop.
a unique
He had a
voice.
strong voice.
We're here on the Boogered Up podcast. There's water, some Gatorade on the table, and it's really cool. But like, that's Obama. Like, it's not the greatest impression. That Obama's like not something I do all the time. But
Right,
like
but
that,
that was
that's
so good.
Obama. Like there's a specific like cadence and like style to his voice. But like I said, George Clooney, it's George
So
Clooney.
when you go into like, do you decide you want to learn like how to impersonate somebody, so you start doing research on them, or does it just like come to you? You're like,
varies. It varies. Like there's some people I'm like, all right, well I have to learn this impression because this is going to be huge. Like
Right.
right now, RFKJ, like like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's running for
running.
president. So like he's got this voice. It's like very just like down. It's because he's got this like throat issue, and he talks like that. I'm still working on the impression. Obviously, there you go, debuted of my progress. But
There we go.
yeah, they're walking. Yeah,
There you go.
but it's infectious too. You hear someone doing a walk, and you're like, I gotta do that.
It took a
No,
lot.
I'm
It
over
took
here
a
like
lot.
trying not to. Do
It took a lot out of me to try it, and I'm like, I will fail fucking miserably, but I really want to have a
wanna do it.
conversation with this.
Yeah, no. So like there's certain like people in the pop culture eye that are like, I have to learn this at least at some level. Like Biden. Like I was so like, I don't really care. He's boring. Like he's just a president. Like there's nothing about him. But then people started making fun of him, and like he was in the public eye because he's the president. So like I was like, all right, I'll work on it. So like now I do Biden. But like there's with celebrities, a lot of times I'm watching a movie and I'll be like, that guy's got a cool voice. Like, I just want to
That's
see if
so
I can
dope.
do that. And I just try. And if I can't do it right away, I'm like, all right, so there's a phrase he says. Like a lot of impressions, if I can't do it, I learn an intro phrase. And some impressions, there's impressions like Donald Trump, I can just drop into it without even thinking about it. It just happens, okay? And
You can
think
almost
about
see
it.
it.
Even the lips. Yeah,
You
like
can
hand
see it in your face when you drop into Trump. It's
Yeah.
kind of fucking wild.
It's
Like,
crazy. I mean, you look at it, it just, bam, there he is.
I could see it when you were in the championship round as you were getting ready to do a joke. When you popped your head back and you
yeah.
started to do, I was like, he's about to Trump. He's about to go full Trump on us right now. I could see it. And I was like, dude, like you like morph, and it was wild to see.
Yeah, so there's like voices that are hard to do. So you need an intro phrase to learn to then get it what I call conversational. There's only, I think, 6 or 7 impressions that I have conversationally, which means I can literally like I think, and no one would want to hear this. This would be I would be bored myself, but I think maybe there's a market. But I could do a whole 2-hour podcast just as Trump. I could
Yeah,
say
I would imagine, yeah.
I can say anything in his voice anytime I have it down. That's my conversational. There are probably, like I said, 5 to 7 impressions that I have that way, and then the rest are all I can do it for a bit, or I can do it just one line. Like I have one line and that's it. And so there's certain. Like I do Cat Williams, and Cat Williams I'm almost conversational with, but right now I still, and I'm going to move the mic just because it is a little loud and poppy, but Cat Williams, you need the, let me tell you something, pimp. Like, so you drop into that with that phrase, because then people know, first off, that's a classic phrase. That's only to him. That's only to him. And it first off lets the audience or whoever you're talking to know, hey, that's Cat Williams. So even if the voice when
Right.
you're first starting doesn't sound like
smart.
him, you know it's him.
Yeah.
And second off, it helps you get into his most used phrase. And so like you're getting into the mindset more instead of, let me just see how he says hi. Like that's, no one cares. Like no one,
Right.
you can't, it's so hard to find the nuance of hi.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
if you're listening to the most used phrase, you can find the nuance of it. So like there's certain voices like that, like Matthew McConaughey. I've got him conversationally now. You can just
love
kind of
that.
drop into him. You can say hello. You can do whatever you want to do.
It's so good.
But when I first
It's
started,
so smooth,
when I
dude.
first started though, you had to do the all right, because like that's the phrase that
right.
people
fucking
know.
hand. When you did that, I was like, oh,
Because he does.
yeah,
he talks with his
yeah,
hand.
no, he very much so. As soon as I saw
I
the
love
hand,
that.
He's riding around a Lincoln,
Shit.
rolling boogers in his fingers. It's just
dude, oh my god,
That's so good.
how long have you been doing these?
let's see. So since 8th grade was the first time I ever did an impression. I'm 26 now, so a long freaking time.
God bless. You haven't knocked out of McConaughey either. I can tell right there. You just started talking like McConaughey a little bit.
Oh yeah,
there.
yeah. It's
Is that a thing for you? Or is that a thing where you like kind of
Yeah.
like get stuck in a voice and you kind of gotta like
very,
focus on
very
it?
much so, and it's probably the thing that it like. My girlfriend's an actress. Like she teaches acting at a different different theaters around the Cleveland area, but even she, who loves acting, it's probably her biggest pet peeve of mine. Like, I'll be working on a voice, which doesn't bother her, but then if it's a voice or an accent, like, I'm just doing it constantly, like so much, and she'll be like, just stop.
What's the one that almost sent her off the edge? What's the voice that she was like, dude, I'm basically talking to this guy at this point?
I'm trying to think. I think Ben Shapiro, maybe, just because he's so annoying. Like, the voice is just so like. But I'm trying to think. Like, sometimes it's not even a specific person. It's just me, because I do probably 150 to 200 people or cartoon voices that people know, but then I do about 50 to 100 just like random voices that like are unique to me. So like if you gave me a picture of a random dude, I could give him a voice.
I love that.
So like,
I would imagine you would have that talent with getting these 200 actual people. You could create your own.
Oh, it's so because you find out, and this is everyone's like, so the biggest question I get asked, like, do you think anyone can do impressions, or do you have to be born with it? Because it's like anything, and I think it's much like basketball. Like, anyone can pick up a ball and learn how to dribble. Anyone can shoot, but not everyone is built like LeBron.
Right.
So with voices, and this is how I kind of find voices, or find what I call sub voices, which is like, you give me a person, I can give you a voice for them. Everyone has a vocal range. So like, if you can find another celebrity or a cartoon character in your vocal range, you can totally manipulate your voice to at least do that one person.
Okay.
So like, obviously that might take time. Like, but like my science teacher in high school, like, he had the vocal range. I was like, you could totally do a Jerry Seinfeld. Like, you could totally do it. I can't explain to you how you can get there personally, but like, it's in your register. You got it.
Okay.
So, like, so I can
awesome.
hear sometimes, I can hear people, and I'm like, you could do this, but I can't tell you how.
That's
but
that's really cool. The fact that you've, like, in a sense, like, quote unquote mastered, because you're still a working student in the game of it. But you've mastered enough to where you've gotten enough in your book to where you can see people's voices, and you want to see somebody from a different. You just pick somebody, and you're like, that person could be you. You could be that person.
Do that voice.
That's insane that you're able to do that.
Have you ever
that's
just
crazy.
like ordered a pizza and like a voice?
You ever thought about doing pranks and stuff like that?
So yeah, like I think the prank genre of the internet, like, obviously there are people that like find the new thing all the time, but I think that genre has been so hammered to the ground that like businesses are just so like
over
whatever about it. Like, I tried a couple times to like go through the drive-through and do like Kermit the Frog ordering a Big Mac, and people are just like, anything else? Like, there's no,
and
like,
it's so sad.
Yeah,
You're like, bro,
it's like, bro, like, you can't play along. Like, and I've done it. It's not even like my buddy Ben. Shout out Ben, one of my best buddies.
Shout out Ben, dude. Don't know who you are, but shout out Ben, bro.
But like, Ben, he'll be like, I'll record for you. Like, we'll just go get nuggets or something. And so we went to McDonald's, and I was like, hi, Kermit the Frog here. I'd like to order a 5-piece nugget. And they're just like, anything else? You want sauce with that? And I'm like, come on. Like, I understand that, like,
they don't
like,
want to be there already.
Fine, but like, you can't have fun with that.
Right.
Like, I know if I was if I was that guy,
Bro.
I'd be like, this is the greatest day of my life.
Yeah, it's one of those, like,
This just made my day 10 times better.
like,
Right.
what am I hearing in my ears right now? What the fuck?
So then Ben was like, all right, this must not be the spot. So we went to another McDonald's. Same thing. I've been to like 5 or 6 McDonald's, and all the employees were just like, yeah, whatever. And now, specifically for the drive-through trove, a lot of these companies have AI drive-throughs. Have you seen these?
What?
Yeah, like McDonald's, like the one by my house in Elyria, if you drive through, the AI takes your order.
Hold the fuck on.
Yeah, they're like, will you be using the McDonald's app today? And you're like, yeah. They're like, can I have a code? And you give them the code, and then they're like, and what would you like to order? And it's like an AI voice, and they take it all down. So they're slowly removing the headset need. And the only time you ever get a real person is if you need to edit your order and the computer can't understand you. Then you'll kick you to a headset.
That's nuts.
Yeah, because they're even going to inside where you don't even have to talk to
Oh,
anybody.
yeah,
You
they
go up to
tap,
the
tap.
screen.
Well, you tap the buttons, yeah, but like just the voice part always fucks me up with the AI kind of deal.
Damn,
because when you're
McDonald's is
taking,
about to
like,
be like
Right.
all
So then, of
robots.
course,
Apple.
like,
The Apple of fast food restaurants.
yeah. So then, of course, like, I can't do anything with that. Like,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
I can't.
AI is just gonna give you the same shit as the real
And
people
so-
are giving you.
right. And so calling. I've tried calling like McDonald's. I've just call off work, but like as a celebrity, I've tried calling Walmart. I've tried pizza places. The pizza place I had the most luck with. I think one time. Because I did live streaming in like 2014, and my followers were like, you should call the pizza place. So I got a second phone, and I like called up a Domino's and like pretended to be like, I don't even know what it was, Arnold Schwarzenegger maybe, and I was like, listen to me. Yeah, I'd like to order a large pepperoni pizza. You know, you put lots of sausages and the onions, and it make it really delicious. And they were like, I think the guy was high because he was like, wait a minute. he was like, this is not happening. Who is this?
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. You brought him back to reality.
he
He's
was
like, wait a
like,
second.
he was like, yo. He was like, you said Arnold? And I was like, yes, you know, from the Terminator movies, you know, they like to order a pizza. And he was like, no. And I was like, yeah. And so that was the one time that it really worked, and it was great. But like every since I tried, like every time I've tried since, like not like the one successful voice prank I've ever done wasn't even me, and it made me frustrated, but it was so funny. I took an acting class at community college, and our professor, she was like she was an adjunct professor, so she did this class, but then in the evenings she was like the front woman for like a 70s cover band. Okay. And she was clearly someone who like did mushrooms. Like she had such like a
Okay.
a groovy vibe.
Yeah, okay.
But like she was so spacey that like she would give lectures in this acting class to like the wall. Like not actually the wall, but like she would not like pay attention that no one was paying attention. Like there's a lot of professors that are like, I'm just here to get paid. I'm going to do my stuff. But there's most professors they care about your education. And
Right.
they're like, I see you're not paying attention. Like why? What's the disconnect? But she was just like, phew. And we got so bored one time. We were like, let's do some prank calls. So I had the genius idea to put 2 phones on speaker mode and have 2 Chinese restaurants call each other.
Oh, dude.
Dude.
So it was like, brrr, and the one lady was like, hello, this is Double Dragon, who's this? And then the other lady was like, hello, this is Asia Walk, who's this? And they just went back and forth.
Oh my
And
god.
it took them like 5 minutes to figure out that they like were both restaurants. Because
they were just
like
calling the
yeah.
restaurant, dude. That's so funny.
And I was like, I wish I recorded that because that would have been so
Were they
cool.
getting
but-
they agitated?
Oh, they were so mad. They were like,
They were so
because
fucking
they
mad.
each thought that the other one was a prank call. Because people do that. And I
Like,
was
no, I'm a restaurant. No, I'm a
and
restaurant. No, you're
and then
not.
I thought
You're-
about it, and I realized I am the reason that I can't do my own prank calls because of stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
Dude, that's so funny.
like no one takes you seriously anymore because there's people like me out here doing this.
yeah.
So I'm sorry to all you YouTube pranksters. I'm taking that job, but yeah.
That's so
That's
fucking funny, bro.
hilarious, dude.
So you've been doing it since you were in 8th grade. What
Yeah.
is there a impersonation that has taken you? But of course, the 4 years for Trump. Is there one that you just worked so hard to try and get, and it was so hard? What was the hardest one?
Man, and I'm still struggling with it because some days it's not great. But Stitch from Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
It's such a random
Dude.
impression.
I kind of can do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
I found
wanna
out
hear
on
it.
I found out on the phone. I was bullshitting, and I just was like,
Stitch.
Oh yeah.
and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. I was like, and they were like, why do you sound like Stitch? Yeah,
Moana means family.
like just
Moana means family. And family means that no one is left behind.
yeah, like you could do it a lot smoother. But like that was I was crazy when I found out
It's-
that I could do that shit.
But that voice, hard to explain to anyone. And I had a friend who did it so well, and they were like, I was like, dude, I need to do this voice. Like, how do you do this? And he tried to explain it to me. And it's a lot with the placement of the tongue on the back of your mouth because it closes off some of your airway, which gives the voice. And it's so hard to explain that to someone.
Yeah,
who,
you have to
there are voices that everyone can make or sounds that people. You might make a sound during the day that you're like, oh, I didn't know I was capable of making that. Yeah, sure. Like
you got it. You like the way that I had. You had to make you have to make your throat super small. And you have to like just have a little bit of spit kind of deal, a little bit of phlegm, a little bit of something that makes the grit to it.
And for the life of me, I could not figure out the tongue placement on it. And like that's what she said. But like
wow, you got that.
Yeah, I could not figure it out. Like it just
I had that problem for a long time.
Yeah, and then one day I was driving home from work because I worked at a movie theater and it was like midnight and I was like, yes, like I got it. Like
Fuck
there we
yeah.
go. And Gollum from the Lord of the Rings, same placement, just a different pitch.
Yeah, but I feel like it's just grittier.
Yeah,
you just gotta be dirty with it.
Nasty hobbitses. My friend Caleb Mead does a really good Gollum, and I keep asking him like for like the tips and the tricks because like I can do it. So there's also some voices that I can do. Sometimes, but not all the time. Like there are voices like there's a very good British actor. His name is Mark Strong, and most people know him for being in the sequel to Kingsman. He sings the Almost Heaven.
Yeah, okay, I think
West Virginia.
Yeah.
So Mark Strong, fantastic British actor. He's in a bunch of stuff. But I can only do him when I have a cold.
That's
he
fair.
has a very
that makes a lot of sense.
There's certain voices I can only do when I wake up because my voice is so deep and so low. There's certain voices like so it's very interesting like how like your mouth like you don't even think about it. You're just like you eat food, you talk like there's not a lot of like I think about where my tongue is when I say this word.
Right.
Like no one thinks that. Like you just talk.
It's kind of a weird. It's like it's one of those things where you sit back and you're like, I'm blinking my eyes, kind of deal, and you're like, I'm moving my hand. Like when you look at it, you're like, oh, this is controlled by my brain.
You're
deal.
like, how does this even work? It's very like,
and like I've only done like one or two, but like when I was sitting there just doing the stitch thing, just like, oh, I can kind of do that. I was like, why did I make?
It's crazy.
Well, okay, here's a better example. Like I love hardcore music. I love like metal music and shit. So I I used to do vocals and stuff like that. So making the vocal stuff of trying to go deep and trying to get high and shit like that, you're like, you got to put your whole mouth and your whole throat. And
I was just thinking of Christopher Walken as a metal band, like let the bodies hit the floor, babes. Just let them hit the floor.
And it's just him, but like over and over again on like some sort of like.
I would love to hear. You don't have to do it, but just him for the long floor. For when it gets into the song, where it's just him saying floor, and it just keeps going.
Like in the floor.
Yeah.
Bro,
That's crazy.
can you do like British actors then? Like Russell Brand? I think he's Australian.
So there's a lot of different British celebrities that are So I do. If you never watched Planet Earth, but Planet Earth, you've got David Attenborough, and here we have the rare mammal. It sits with its pelvis to the ground, initiating the female to come over and say hello. But there's that. There's Tom Holland. He plays Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Hi guys, it's me, Tom Holland, and I'm really excited to be the new Spider-Man. It's great.
It's great.
Well, of course you've got Michael Caine. Now, why do we fall, Master Wayne? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up again.
Dude, this. I said in the intro. I feel I said it actually prior. I feel like I'm going to be sitting next to 200 different people. Oh, it's here. There's so many different people inside this person. It's
Russell
unreal.
Brand?
So Russell Brand, I've been slowly working on because he's very I don't know. He's got. I'm trying to think. Like I do like early's like 90s, early 2000s because he's very just like I don't know. It's kind of it's there. He's like a British Ben Shapiro, and I can't like put a finger on it. So, like, I can't like put a finger on it. I haven't been able to like get it down, but like someday and like so. There's another example. Like there's some situations like if I have a cold or I wake up, I can do a voice, but there's also a rare case of I did it once and I haven't been able to figure out how to get back to it.
Where is it?
So like, well, Russell Brand for one. One day I was driving around and I was like, "Hello, I'm Russell Brand," and I was like, "This is the greatest thing ever." I did it, and then since then can't figure it out. I hold the fact that I do the best Ted Cruz impression ever. But if you asked me right now, I could not do it.
No way.
And it's so sad. It's so sad because I did it once on a live stream. Someone was like, "Dead Ted Cruz," and I was like, "I don't really do it." And I tried it, and I kid you not, me listening to myself, and I'm not like an egotistical person. Like I'm not someone that's like I have the best Trump impression ever.
Right.
Other people will tell me that. Like I don't need to go out and say, "Yeah, I'm the best, guys." Like, look at this guy. He's so great. He's probably the best, okay? He does my voice better than anybody, probably even better than me, okay? But, yeah, okay. But I did it, and I kid you not, it was the best impression of Ted Cruz I've ever heard. And the day after, I couldn't do it. And I have not been able to do it
That
since.
burns you. I can tell that you got riled up
I'm
on
still
it.
heated about it, and it was in 2015. Like, it was
Cody
so
Ray,
bad.
do you got anything? I feel like I've been hogging all the questions.
Oh yeah, actually I do.
What's up?
What's your least favorite impression to do? Like that somebody will always request that you don't like doing.
That's a great question.
That is a great question. Well, so the obvious answer is Trump, just because it's so asked for. It's like the dance monkey dance. Like, you do Trump.
Right.
Like, I do other things too, guys. Like, ooh, Homer J. Simpson and Marge Simpson. Oh my gosh, what are you doing?
The audio listeners of this podcast have to just be like, "What the fuck? There's so many people here."
Like, who am I talking to?
What's going on? Yeah, no, but so Trump is the obvious answer, just because I've done it so much that I'm over it. But a more niche answer, I'll give two. One is just like Peter Griffin, because it's like, yeah, I can do it, but like if you're really impressed that I do Peter Griffin, there is like you are impressed by everything. Like Christopher Walken is impressive if someone does it well, because it's so nuanced that like everyone who does it has a different take on the voice. But just because everyone does it doesn't mean that it's not still impressive. Like if someone pulls out a good Christopher Walken in front of me, I'm like, that is damn good. I'm impressed. Do that again.
Right.
But if someone like everyone at the couch has had too many beers and has done a Peter Griffin, and it's just like, yeah. What's up, guys? We're here on the Boogered Up podcast. All right, but so it's pretty annoying. But no, I can do it. But it's like if you're impressed, like there's so many other things that I do that are impressive.
Yeah.
Like
that you
Trump,
actually worked real
like Trump,
hard on
I worked 4 years on. So the payoff of people saying that is the best I've ever heard, that is amazing, makes me feel good because I put in the work.
Right.
Like everyone does Peter Griffin. And it's like, it's not impressive. It's just a fat guy from Boston. Like, it's just, it's just, but like, it's, but like, it's not, like, people say that. I'm like, it's not entertaining for me to entertain you.
Right.
What's the other one?
Oh, the other one is when people come up and it's more so not asking for a voice, but asking for, and people do this in comment sections all the time of live streams. They do the whole like, we're trying to bait you into saying a slur. So like they'll be like, do this voice,
And I'll be like, okay. There's some voices like Apu from The Simpsons. Like, it's not racist. I'll use this podcast as a perfect time to say my thoughts on it.
Okay.
People
Speak
don't.
your truth.
Yeah, people like, oh, you should shy away from this because this. But with voices and impressions, I understand. Like with there's a perfect example of a good thing. Family Guy. The guy who did Cleveland Brown for years, he's a white guy. He originated the voice, and people found out he was a white guy, and they were like, is there a black guy who can do Cleveland? And there is. There's a guy on YouTube, I think it's Azerts. I can't remember his full name. Wonderful guy. He does the greatest Cleveland Brown. It is so good. And it was so good that the voice actor who plays Cleveland Brown was like, you know what? You should be doing this. So he is now the voice of Cleveland Brown.
That's sick.
That's awesome.
And he is brown or black. I don't know what ethnicity he is, but he is not a white guy.
Yeah.
So it works a lot better to have someone who can do that voice who represents that community, you know?
Right.
But someone who is white doing an accent or doing an impression of someone who is not inherently racist. And I think there's a huge movement within voiceover and within just like comedy in general in regards to impressions. Like obviously you should never do blackface. Like I think everyone can agree. Like you shouldn't do blackface. Like if you're doing a Denzel Washington impression and you're a white dude, you should not put a bunch of charcoal on your face and go, all right, okay. But like that just you can't do that. But it doesn't mean as a white person, you can't do an Indian accent. Like
right.
If the whole point of it is the intent behind it. If your intent is like, you know, I hate these people. I'm gonna don't these people sound terrible? Like who are the? And then you do the accent. It's like whoa. Like those people, they didn't ask for that. Like that's just how they sound.
Right.
And for me, I come at it of a place of respect. Like there are so many different cool sounding people. Otherwise, I wouldn't do what I do.
Right. You're just going to stick to white people?
Right. I love the way people sound. Right. I think it's so cool. But there are but getting back to the answer to your question, because I went all over the place. I have ADHD, so I do that. But
we just sat with AJ Wilkerson. We're fine. We're all accustomed to this.
I don't like when people are like, hey, do Apu Simpson, because they're trying to get a clip that they can be like, oh, look at this guy. He's this racist guy. Or don't do Apu's just an example, but there are so many like that. Do this person. Do like Bernie Mac. Or do like this. Because it's like, I can do it, and I love doing these voices, but it's like, you're thinking about it to get a certain response.
Right. So
and that's not the case.
Way.
Like I do a very good Indian accent. There's a lot of people that do
a very good Indian accent.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that do an Indian accent, and it is very stereotypical, but I have a lot of Indian friends, and I do it quite consistently. But like,
that's
there's nothing.
Really good,
there's nothing about that voice that's offensive. Like that's
and you're not saying anything
right. Like I'm not talking. Like there's a lot of people that do that, and then they're like talking about like curry, and it's like, well, that's not like appropriate. Like what are you doing? But that voice. That's what people sound like. And if you're saying it's bad to sound like those people, that's racist.
Right.
Yeah.
That's you're telling me Indian people can't sound like Indian people?
Yeah, that's kind of wild.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's kind of
like that's
good,
wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. So like I just wanted to say that because I've not had a platform to really be like, hey, this is my thoughts on that. So thank you for letting me
on the Boogered podcast,
that,
you can basically say almost anything you want. So hey, you can speak
There's
however
that.
you feel.
But I just think that's interesting. So
yeah, no, and it's
diving more back into that, like the Simpsons characters and stuff. Is that something as a goal that you're trying to do? Is voiceovers for cartoons and stuff?
Oh man, yeah, I would love to. That'd be so cool. I mean, I think for me, the end goal is SNL, because like I love doing characters. Like some of my favorite videos that I wish would go viral are original characters that I do. Like I have this lady, her name is Bad News Barb, and she's got bad news and she's got worse news. She does not have good news. And it's just like there's another bad news and worse. Hey there, my name is Bad News Barb. Now I got some bad news and I got some worse news. The bad news is there's water all over your house. The worst news is we can't even see your house no more because the water's so high. It's like you couldn't have started with that. I've got like a costume for her.
That's good.
And I've got
love
another
that.
one. It's like these redneck dudes, and it's like, hi, welcome to the We Break It, You Fix It. Like they're like, we break it, you fix it, brothers. Now what can we break for you? And their whole thing is they're just like stupid guys who just like have sledgehammers and just like break stuff.
That's
And
fun.
it's like, so like I have all these like original characters
Right.
that I would love to just bring onto SNL or bring onto a sketch show. So like the end goal is some sort of sketch show, but honestly, I would love to do voiceover too. I've done audiobooks. That's been fun. Amazon has their own. You can publish your own. If you are an author, you can publish your own book through Amazon.
Okay.
And they
I'm gonna
also
write a
have.
fucking book.
You should. You can do that, and then
I'm
you can
going
sell
to
it.
write a
You can
book.
sell. You could. You have the perfect like platform to like
Oh,
Put it
bro,
out there.
and it could be like,
the Boogered Up book.
it could be like,
Oh God, I'm so
It
scared of that book.
doubles,
bro.
as a beer
How many
coaster.
pictures are in that goddamn book? Because we can't read for shit.
every page.
It's a
Every
picture book.
page,
It's a
every
picture
page.
book.
What you mean?
Also, like, what are some of the people that do voice characters in like cartoons that you look up to? I'm sure there's
Oh,
some.
man.
I was gonna
Yeah.
ask
No.
that because
So-
you brought up Family Guy and stuff. I was gonna say like just Seth MacFarlane.
Oh,
or, like some
Seth
of them roll-
MacFarlane. Seth MacFarlane is he's a genius.
And some of
'Cause
them,
he-
like, you don't realize, like, that's that person. Like, Bart Simpson's a woman.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And stuff
people
like
don't.
that. And
People
like you
ask me
said,
all
the
the time
white-
to do Bart, and I'm like, it's honestly pretty hard because it's not in my natural register because he's a woman
Yeah,
who
it's a
does
girl
it.
that
Yeah.
does both.
Like
I
that's
caramba. So cool.
but like that's about close as I can get, and like yeah. So Seth MacFarlane, perfect example. That dude does like 30 voices on that show.
Yeah, it's
And
insane.
there's some scenes where he's having a conversation with himself.
Yeah,
Going back and forth, and I watch that.
And
And
you're
I'm
tweaking. You're
I'm
like, dude, this is the idea. This is what I want to do.
I know
I'm
what
so
voices he does,
excited.
too.
Yeah, I'm like, I am so excited by that. Like the fact that you can go from Brian to Stewie to Peter and have like a 3-man conversation. It's like a
Literally.
3-man weave in basketball, but with voices.
Dude,
It's so
I
cool.
honestly,
That
have you
is-
ever
yeah,
thought
I never
about?
thought about
Have
that.
you ever thought about going to what's the website or you get cheaper artists and such of that nature? God bless. What's that art?
Oh, Fiverr?
Fiverr.
Fiverr. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Have you ever thought about going on to Fiverr and just saying like, "Hey, I have these voices and I have a whole story that I have. That's a 5-minute thing. Can you write up a script of it? Can you do a
That
cartoon
would be
deal?"
interesting. That'd be interesting.
I think
I've
that would
never-
be
Have your
really fun, and
AI
that's-
or
and
have AI write you a script.
Well, no, they don't have AI write it. He can write the,
ChatGPT.
he can write the script, but
Yeah.
I'm saying for somebody to draw up characters for him to actually make this a thing for him,
Right,
so he
yeah,
can put it
that'd
up
be
on social
sick.
media and such. I think
That'd be
creating
pretty-
his own
That'd be
story.
pretty awesome.
I think that would easily be
pretty
something
awesome.
that you could do.
Oh no, for sure. That'd be dope.
I think that's
thank you
the
for
move.
the idea. No, that's great. But yeah, Seth MacFarlane. There's a guy, Jim Cummings. He's the voice of Winnie the Pooh. Like the just like classic. He's he's the voice of. You literally look up Jim Cummings. You're like, he does that voice. Like literally anything you've watched with cartoons probably has a Jim Cummings voice. But like he's brilliant. Rob Paulson's brilliant. He's been in so much stuff. Kenny, is it Tom Kenny? He does SpongeBob. Like there's so many different people in the business that you hear the voices and you're like, whoa, this is so cool. Like these guys, because like it's one like some people like a really good one, Josh Robert Thompson. He was the voice of Jeff the Robot on the Craig Ferguson show for years. But he's brilliant at what he does. But there's some people that I just hear. I'll be watching a show or a movie, and I'll hear a voice. And because I've studied them, I know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
But like the average person would just hear the character voice.
Right.
And that's cool to me that I've studied enough that I've picked up like, oh, I think that's my buddy, or I think that's this guy. And then later in the comment or the credits, they
Yeah.
roll, and I'm like,
You could
I
probably
was right.
You could probably teach like a whole class on stuff like that. Like you said, like you have the knowledge of the tongue. Like I've heard of stuff like that with like speech therapy, stuff like that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like you could do stuff like that.
I
Maybe.
would love, and I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast this past week, and he had a guest on, and he was talking. It was Jimmy Carr. He's a British comedian, and he was talking about how he thinks we're not far off from stand-up comedy being a course you can take in school. which would be really cool. I mean,
That's
if you think
really
about
cool.
it, if
And
you think about it, it's
that
an art
makes sense.
form. It's an art form.
100%.
And I think podcasting is not far behind because it's also an art form.
It's like a new form.
It's
of
a
news.
new form.
Yeah.
Like you have regular art, you have dramatic arts, you have all kinds of art forms being taught at schools, and comedy is an art form. Like there are people who are inherently funny, but you can learn a lot of that too.
1,000%.
And I think what I do would be a really cool subclass to teach of that if that ever goes to like the university level. That'd be really cool because accents. Like my girlfriend, she's a dialect coach, so like people will hire her to come into shows to perfect the dialects of the actors for the time period that the play takes place, which is wild. So she's always doing accents and she's like doing it professionally. So that's a legitimate job. And so like the flip side of that is like teaching people how to do more than just the accents or the class on accents, or maybe you have accents and impressions, and it's just teaching people how to find their voices.
That's nuts.
Do you ever dabble with like the sound effects? I've seen people like making videos of like video sound effects, and it's like cool, and it's like
the
things
sound
that you
effects guys. I'll tell you, I think they're more impressive than what I do because they've unlocked, and unless it comes naturally to you, because like I said, some voices I just do, and I've always been able to do them, and I don't have an explanation as to how I can do them or how I found them, just happen. But so some of those guys with the sound effects, they're like, I've always been able to sound like a machine gun, and you're like, all right, you're a little weird, but that's
like
but all right,
the guy off of
like
Police Academy.
That guy's brilliant, so cool.
I meant like the ones where like they make.
Oh, like the Foley artists,
yeah,
like where they're
they
just
make the
making like
sound
drops of
effects.
rain with stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought because
Sheet of
there's
metal.
there's the guys like the Police
I didn't
Academy.
even think about that,
okay.
but yeah, that is
so
impressive
yes,
too.
so the Police Academy guy, like that's a whole nother level of like you have realized the full potential of your mouth, which is such a weird phrase to say, but
well, that's kind of where it is with like realizing that like when you get a moment to like be in third person and realize that all your body has a certain movement and you can kind of function this deal, and like how much are you really capable? Like are you capitalizing on your movements of your body and your brain and everything?
Yeah,
and they're
just,
doing
like,
research on like how much potential we have, like as far as brain power. Like we have. I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, but they said something about like we've only unlocked like 2% of our brain.
Yeah, no,
which
it's very
is
small.
wild.
It's very
That's
small.
2%. Like you can find milk with higher percentage.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's wild. Like
We got skim
like,
brains.
whole milk. We can't even figure out our brains. Like how do we come up with that? Like that's crazy. But yeah, no. So they have mastered the movement of the mouth to get like the machine gun. Like how do you sound like a helicopter? That's wild, dude. And then like Foley artists, that's a whole different thing because they can do stuff with their mouth too, but they've mastered a whole thing that we also impressionists also use, which is the ears. Because a Foley artist, and for those who didn't hear what he was asking or they take, like if you're listening to a movie and there's like you hear rain, a lot of times it's not actually water falling to the ground. It's some sort of equipment being used to make like the sound of rain, and those are called Foley artists. And it's really cool what these people do. They'll like sit and they'll have like a pot and an egg and like a blowtorch, and you'll be like, what? And they'll be like, yeah, this guy is the guy that made all the sounds for the Northmen. And you're like, what?
Dude, that's insane, dude. That's insane.
I've seen
And you're
nuts.
like, wild. And those people sat for hours and they heard things that no one else can hear. They heard the sound of a pot, and they said, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like 19th century soldiers marching to Rome.
Or
like
yeah.
They hear that, and that's
such a
another
wild
level
thing.
of intuition and of untapping the parts of the brain
Right,
that we don't
yeah.
know about. And I do that, like when I hear a voice, I have to listen to their key phrases. I have to listen to the way their voice sounds. So like I do that, but those guys are on like an elevated level of hearing because like they're hearing the little scratches on tables and chairs that we
anything,
can't.
and they can just copy it.
Their
and
senses are
like figure
just
out
maxed.
what to copy it
Yeah.
with without actually doing.
It's
what's
wild.
happening. Yeah.
It's wild.
Is there a as you mentioned we were talking about accents from different countries and such that nature. Is there an accent like I had an Australian roommate, and I thought that was the coolest fucking accent for anybody.
Aussies are cool, man.
Aussies are fucking sweet, dude.
Aussies are wild.
Aussies.
The cool thing about Australians is they always sound like they're on an adventure.
Yeah.
Like they're like if you give them like a basic phrase, like a sad phrase, if you're like, my grandmother has cancer, you're like, oh man, that's awful. I feel awful about that, dude. I'm sorry. But like if an Australian says it, they're like, yeah, no, sorry, my grandmother's battling cancer. You're like, you really believe that grandmother's out there with like a sword, like just like yeah, take that, cancer, like. Yeah, like Australians are wild.
Yeah, dude, that's exactly what they sound like. The first time I ever met him, the first time I ever met the roommate, he went up to me and he was like, "Hello, cunt," and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?" I was like, "Did you just call me a cunt?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Australia," and I was like.
They're like, no, sorry, we're going to go out to the store and we're going to get ourselves a 6-pack, right? Now that sounds so exciting. You want to go on that adventure. But if your buddy is just like, yo, I'm just going to go down to the store and get 6-pack, you're like, all right, dude,
this guy almost pitched me on betting online on horse racing. Fake horses.
Right.
But he would, dude, his favorite.
Dude, so let me set it up for you. Okay?
Sell me.
There's horses, right? And they're not real. But they're really cool. They've got different colors, right? Different colors. You're in? Yeah, different colors. And they race each other. It's like marbles on stream. You ever watch Twitch and they're racing the marbles? Those are so cool. The one time, so I got
That's exactly what he fucking did. I swear to God. He sat me down and he said, dude,
really cool,
they're
mate.
not real, but they all got different colors, and you never know who's going to win. But I swear to God, I felt like I was talking to Tom right there, dude. I swear to God, that was great.
Yeah, no, like Twitch, they have this whole game. It's like marbles on stream, and it's so boring. But because it's literally just like the stream moderator presses a button, everyone can queue in and get their little marble, and then the marbles race on an AI track.
Okay.
And it's so boring, but so many streamers do Marble Mondays, and it's like, all right, whatever, like. Cringe,
it's boring, but at the same time,
I
you
got
find yourself
so
watching.
excited because one day I joined a random stream and it was this Aussie guy with a beard, and he was like, "All right, guys, so everyone queue in for your marbles." Like, and I was like, "Oh, I'm queuing in right now." Like,
did he do the whole race? Did he do the whole?
He was like, "So have you ever seen Aussie Man reviews?"
Yes. Oh my God, I love
dude
those.
Dude is a legend. He's a legend. He. So I don't do an impression of him, but this is just me as an Australian doing his stuff. So the first video I ever saw, he's got a guy. There's like 2 Asians diving off a diving board in the Olympics, and he's like, "Now these guys have probably the tiniest speedos I've ever seen." And he's like, and they're about to jump off a fucking cliff. And he's just like, what? And you get so hyped. It's so funny. And it's just, but the marbles guy, I was so hyped. I've never been more excited for a virtual marbles contest in my life.
When it's an Australian person, you gotta follow with that, dude. There was one part where I'm laying in bed, I'm about to fall asleep, and there's a lacrosse dude just laying there. He's outside, he's on his phone, he's yelling at somebody. It's like 2:00 in the morning, and Australians have the best shit talking. They can make up the best stuff. And so I'm laying there, I'm kind of getting pissed off this dude talking. I don't know where I hear Tom's window roll up, and he goes, "Oi, if you don't shut your fucking mouth, I'll skull fuck your dead grandmother," and just closes it. I went a little Irish, but that's exactly how he fucking. I'm like, what the fuck did he just say?
They're wild. They're unhinged.
Dude, it was the best thing, and I laughed so hard.
I swear to God, I'd love to go to Australia.
Australia would be so cool. My aunt lived in Australia for like 3-4 years.
Speaking of Australia, you were just on the Today Show.
I was the Australian Today Show.
Dude, how was that?
So cool. Like
quick sip. Go ahead.
Yeah, their producer hit me up on my email and was like, "Hey, we love your preschool apprentice bit. Would you want to come on and do an interview?" And at first, I'm like, "Yeah, all right, this is real." Like I've got a decent following on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, but like I still get like offers from people that I'm like, there's no way this is real.
Right.
Like this is not. So I was like, the Australian Today Show, like that's so wild. I was like, I sent them back. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like I didn't say that, but I was respectful. I did the business email, whatever. And they were like, cool. We'll put together a time. And I was like, all right, cool. And so literally last Wednesday, they sent me the Zoom link. And I'd set up my little ring light, and it was in my living room, and I get on the Zoom, and it's the live feed of the show, and then in my ear, the Australian producer's like, "Good morning, Noah. How are you?" And I was like, "I'm good, thanks. How are you?" It's like, all right. So I'm gonna need you if you can take your camera and just turn it a little bit like landscape mode, so we can get a better angle of your whole head. All right, cool, thank you. And then just say something so I can audio check you. And I was like, okay, how's this? And she's like, oh, perfect, mate. You're going to be up in a couple minutes. And it was the coolest thing because it felt like I was in a green room, like waiting to go on.
Right.
And it was just like a virtual green room. And then like, boom, they did like a Australian infomercial. And then I was up there and it was like like my friend, she's from Australia, my friend Tanya, so shout out Tanya. But
shout out Tanya.
Yeah, she was freaking out. She's still freaking out. It's like she was like, this is like one of the coolest things in my life that you're like on my TV. Like this is awesome.
That's so sick.
So badass.
Yeah, but
she was like,
you got the normal people too. Like you got the head honchos. Like apparently they've got like rotating like news anchors or whatever on that show. And she was like, you got the guy. She's like, I don't remember his name, but like you got the guy because the guy that did my interview is like the guy on the show.
Okay, yeah.
So it was really cool. They played my one of my viral videos that was from a couple weeks ago, and then they interviewed me. They asked me. I did like 2 different impressions, and then they were like, "So what's your favorite impression?" I did my Jimmy Stewart impression, and then that was it. It was a quick little 3-5 minute interview. It's up on my my TikTok and my Instagram, and the links in my bio. But it was wild, like because you grow up watching TV, you see the news shows, and you see all these people getting interviews, and you're like, how does that, like, this is wild. And like the guy that was interviewed before me, his wife is a famous actress. Like I don't remember who it was, but like he's a writer, and his ex-wife is a famous actress. And I was like, this is like, I'm following this guy. Like this is so cool.
I'm in the same category. I'm in the same lineup. This is nuts.
Yeah, and I had so many like. I have a small Australian following, but like all my Australian followers were like, dude, you were on my TV. This is the coolest thing ever. Dude. And I was like, yeah.
I think I want to dabble into just watching that show after you just introducing it, like talking. I'm like, I would love to
like,
just sit and listen to
any
Australian
news
and
news
just be
show.
like, I gotta dabble, dude. Fuck American news, dude. I gotta over there just find out what's going on there just to listen to.
Like
them,
Australian news probably like we were talking about how it sounds like an adventure. Like Australian news probably is so exciting. They could probably be talking about the banking system, and it's probably like, yeah, no, so the bank is about to fail. You're gonna lose all your money, but don't worry, the government's got your back. Like you're just like, all right, cool. I believe that.
I trust you.
I trust that.
I trust the words you're saying.
I trust that. You're like,
only because
and
your
now
accent.
new kangaroos were born today. Like he's
And
just
you're
like,
stoked.
it just keeps getting better.
You're like, cool. We got new Joeys. That's great. Like, but then like British people, like their news is so like, and this is the BBC. That's what happened today. They're very just like matter of fact. Like,
we're avid golfers, and a lot of people talk just like that.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it's just like a slumber party.
But it all sounds like facts too, though. Like if a British person told you a fact on the news that like was not a fact at all, like Fox News and CNN, like you know that like there's bias there. Like they'll give you a fact, but you're like, all right, this is a right wing fact or this is a left wing fact.
Right.
But if the BBC gives you a fact, like if some dude on the BBC came on TV and was like, we have just found out today that the Earth is flat. Thank you. Now to Bill with sports. You'd be like, whoa.
That
Dude,
was wild.
I completely
the Earth is flat.
I
Like-
completely believe that.
Yeah, right. Like I would completely believe that. It's weird how that works. Like
That's nuts, dude.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so good.
I love that shit, dude.
No, that's awesome that you were a part of that, and I think that truthfully, like
So cool.
the amount of impersonations that you do, I feel like the door is only opening up for you And so, like, having you on this podcast is super sick because
This is great. I would totally come on again if you guys need a guy to slide in sometime.
Oh
This
yeah,
is great.
no, yeah. Don't worry, we're not done yet.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not wrapping up. I'm not
got-
wrapping up. I'm just saying, like,
I'm gonna let Nick ask a question away. I'm gonna rock a piss quick before this
you
thing
do
explodes
that.
on me.
You do that.
Oh, he's got to pee. He's not prepared today.
I'm sorry.
He's gonna walk
Didn't he go before that?
to the
episode?
bathroom before
Yeah.
he pisses himself all over the
We
place.
gotta get this guy a bucket.
We got to get him a bucket. No, so there's these questions we normally ask our guest on the podcast.
Okay,
And in regards of wiping your bum, do you
fair.
ball up your toilet paper or do you fold it?
Oh, you gotta fold it like a real man.
Okay.
Yeah, no. If you ball it up, who are you? What are you like? I don't know.
You
I
must be a
think,
fairy tale or something if you're a baller.
yeah. Like, also, that's such a waste. Like, I'm not like one of those tree huggers, but like that's such a waste of paper. Like, if you fold, you're like, you know how much paper there is. You're
Yeah, it's like
conserving
you
your
almost
paper.
gotta get like a loofah amount of toilet paper. You gotta make a paper loofah.
I am him. I ball it.
You're a baller? Oh man.
Fuck it, we ball,
Okay.
he says.
Fuck it, we
Okay.
ball.
All right, follow-up question to that though.
Oh,
Do you
boy.
wipe standing up or sitting down?
Sitting down still.
Okay, good. You're not an animal.
No, okay.
Because my brothers have this thing. They came up to my dad and I one time. They're like, "Yeah, do you wipe standing up or sitting down?" And my dad and I were like, "Yo, like what?" Like, why is that even a question? Second off, why are you asking us? Like, and I was like, like one of them was like, yeah, you got to stand up to make sure you get it all. And I was like, bro, I'm pretty sure you could do that just as good sitting
Yeah.
down.
No, man, I'm telling you, you gotta get in like a 3-point stance and like.
It's like,
Bro.
what on the world? Like,
You got to use
No
the dude
way.
wipes, follow it up with the toilet paper.
dude wipes are amazing, man.
They are good.
My friend got a year's supply of dude wipes because he had a video go viral where he mentioned dude wipes. They were like, here you go,
Dude wipes, dude wipes,
Yeah,
dude wipes, dude wipes, dude wipes, dude wipes.
Dude wipes.
I got one sitting next to the toilet, a little pack sitting next to the toilet right now.
Quite frankly, dude wipes are the best. Okay, you look at them, you wipe your butt. Okay, and Trump's advertisement for dude wipes said
He's
something.
like, I use them. Everybody uses them.
Oh my god,
It's better than
My
paper
sister's daughter,
towels.
Charisse, uses them.
what the?
Charisse?
Charisse? That's such a weird name.
I don't know. That's
You went
my-
with Charisse?
You went with Charisse?
Could have had Carrie.
No, like all of the names in the world, and you were just Charisse. Like,
I don't know, man. I come up
No.
with some weird names.
Charisse
We had
is a fine
Rosetta.
name.
Rosetta was my girlfriend for a while.
Rosetta?
She was an inflatable sex doll that we
Oh
got.
wow.
And she sat with
It's like
him
Rosetta-
sometimes on-
She
Rosetta
took my
Stone.
virginity.
Oh, I mean, good for you.
No.
Rosetta, does she like speak Spanish to you the whole time? Like she have like a little thing in the back?
We
In my mind, she does.
Como te amas?
We haven't talked about Rosetta in a
It's
while.
been a long time since Rosetta's been.
No, it's how I lost
God,
my
you would just
virginity.
get so aggressive, man. You weren't in a happy place when you were with her, though.
Yeah, you've grown. You've
You're
grown as an
always
I was
individual.
abusive.
Were you deflated?
I wasn't.
You just said I was abusive. And then you said, I wasn't.
No, he asked,
I
if,
asked
I was
if he was
deflated.
deflated.
I
It
said
was
I
It
wasn't.
was a joke on the blow up.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You'll catch it. You'll catch.
Yeah, okay. I thought Cody Ray was catching them DVs. I was like, Cody Ray, bro. Can't
How'd
be
that
doing
start?
that.
I knew as soon as we started bringing up Rosetta, he had this whole like bit deal to where like he would just like deflate her and then patch her up, bring her back to life, kind of deal.
It's kind of like when you
Well,
get them-
we're running out of stuff to talk about with it because initially it was just like a one joke, and I thought it was just gonna be a joke.
Just a one off.
Yeah, but no.
And then we got the real deal
kind of
packages.
Then it went to a whole thing, and the problem was that with like Cody Ray is so different than when he was back then. So like at that time, Cody Ray would talk a little bit
He
on the
was still
pod,
in his
and he
shell.
would he was still in a shell. So whenever we put a spotlight on him, and we're like, here's a blow up sex doll that's your girlfriend, and somehow like we brought in a little bit of DV, like kind of DV, but like deflating the thing. And Cody Ray had no idea what to go with it. So he was like, "Oh yeah, like she better make that dinner home." And we're like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Yeah, it got
whoa,
real.
whoa,
It got real.
whoa, chill out, bro."
I have that on that same little line of thinking. I have that problem with content. Like, I'll make a video that I think is funny, but like I'm like, this is gonna be a one-off, and then it'll go viral, and then people are like, so where's more?
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
There is no more.
There
Like,
is
was
no
all I
more.
had.
This was all I had. This was supposed to be a 1 minute, like, okay, enjoy
I gave
that.
you all the fixins in one.
Like that's like I do the whole preschool apprentice bit. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh
videos.
yeah.
But those are wild, and they've like, I think I have 10 of them now that have over 1 million views, which is wild. Like, to get one video to have 1 million
Right.
views is special. To have 10 videos of the same subject
Yes.
to go viral is wild. Like, it's not like all of my content.
What's your most viral video?
Currently, my most viral video has like 4.4 million views, and it's a preschool apprentice video from like 2 weeks ago.
Hell
Dang,
yeah,
oh, that's the
dude.
one from
Yeah,
2
it's
weeks
the
ago.
one.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Fuck
yeah,
yeah, dude.
it's like 4.4, which is wild, and that just blew my mind. But like, the preschool apprentice. So 2020 rolled around, pandemic. I started doing voices like on the internet because I'd done live streams, and I kind of messed around with Vine when Vine was a thing.
Yeah.
But like, I wasn't really thinking about content creation. Wasn't really a thing that was driving me. And then I was like, I am so bored. But I do these impressions. I wonder if people on Facebook, like my friends, would find them fun.
Right.
So I just posted them, and like, my friends were like hyping me up on Facebook. They were like, you should post these so that like I can share them, because like I want to show my other friends. And I was like, you do? Okay, like whatever.
What year was like? Oh,
This is like 2020, like when the
Okay,
pandemic was starting. Like,
Okay.
everything shut down, and
So you've been doing this since 8th grade, and you finally started putting it on social media in 2020.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
So you really had a nice suitcase of impersonations and time in your belt to be able to put it out there. and
Oh yeah, I
hit
had
it.
content like
Okay.
crazy. Yeah,
Nice.
and it was wild because I was doing these Trump impressions, and at the time, like I said, it took me 4 years. So this is 2020. So like, my Trump impression was good, but even since then, it's gotten great.
Mhm.
Like 2016 to 2020 was his reign.
Yeah.
But he was good, and the concept was funny, and people loved it. It did well. The videos did well. But like, now it's great. It's like went from good to great. It went from terrible to good to great. But like, I was doing those, and I was just doing the regular like topical Trump impressions. So
Right.
if Trump said something about COVID, I did a video like, I've got COVID, folks. It's not gonna kill me. Okay, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna beat COVID. Okay, we're gonna take the horse pills, the medicine. They say the doctors. They say it doesn't work. I think it works. Okay, Rogan says it works. I think it works.
I think it works.
Yeah, but I would do those, and they would do well, and I would wear the whole suit and tie,
Uh-huh.
and of course, now I'm lazy, so I just put the wig on and hit record. But I used to do the suit and tie for every video.
God
and,
bless.
Oh man, it was a lot. But anyways,
in your stand-up comedy, of
Yeah.
course you do all of these impersonations and such of that nature. Do you feel as if you may be shackled to this, or is there a way? Is there something that you want to consistently do and get better at, or is there an avenue that you want to
Yeah.
distance yourself off of?
yeah. So like, impressions are obviously what I'm really good at. Like, that's my wheelhouse. So I don't want to lose that. Like, I
Uh-huh.
want that to be a staple, but I don't want to just do
Be the Trump guy. Be
the Trump guy.
yeah.
Be the, like, back in the day, if you were doing like back before Carson, like Johnny Carson, before like the Tonight Show, they had like these entertainers. They had stand-up comedians that told jokes, but they would have impressionists, and they like wore the suits,
Yeah.
and they'd like turn around and turn back, and they'd be someone else. And then they'd be like turn around and turn back and be someone else. And it was very vaudevillian, very just like slapstick impression kind of thing. And I like that style. But it in a modern day setting, it's been so played out. You got to find a way to nuance it. So I'm trying to find my angles to write sketches to throw my voices in, and then also work in different regular jokes that are not impressions but could lead into an impression.
Right.
Okay.
For instance, right now my girlfriend's dad, he hit me up like 2 weeks ago, and he's like, I have a joke I wrote for you, and I don't know if this is funny, but if you could read it, that'd be great. So I read it, and I thought it was pretty funny. So last week I was at East End again, and I tried it out, and it killed. And it was basically, I'm not from here, which is true. I'm from Connecticut. And when I moved here, I noticed that everyone had an accent. They had some sort of an Ohio thing, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was. And then the longer I've been here, I've noticed that people kept coming up to me and saying, your accent's changed since you've been here. And I'm like, it has? And they're like, yeah. And I listen to my videos and be like, oh, yeah, I guess it has. And I was doing research, and I realized that my voice had lost the one thing that other people have that don't live in Ohio, and that's hope.
Oh,
Jesus
my God.
Christ.
Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ.
It's hope.
So
I was
yeah,
like, oh, what
yeah.
are you mother?
Yeah. So so he wrote that joke. So shout out Neil Conway. But
Hell yeah,
but
dude.
yeah. So I did that, and it works, and it's great because you can tell that bit as long or as short. You can drag that out to a 5-minute. You can shorten it to a one-liner. But it's nice because it's a good intro to an impression bit or a accent bit.
Yeah.
So
nice, okay.
if I do an Australian joke, I can use that as an intro and be like, funny thing about accents, so there's jokes that I'm trying to work on that aren't impression based that are still in the same wheelhouse, so that when I transition into an impression, it's like, oh, that was a random weird thing. Why are you doing that?
Right.
So yeah, you can feel pigeonholed. I definitely. The Trump stuff, I was like, I'm tired of it, but at the same time,
It's working.
it's so good and it's working.
It's
so
working.
I find ways to entertain myself to then entertain other people.
I like
if I
that.
can find a way that Trump is
Keep
funny
that fire
to me,
lit kind of deal. It's like a relationship.
Yeah.
You and Trump impersonation. As long
Yeah.
as that fire is on, you're good.
as long as the fire is hot, okay? Me and Melania, very hot fire, okay? She says it's not. She tried a divorce, but it's still hot, okay? Don't believe the fake news, okay? It's so hot. But, just like my daughter, very hot. But
Fucking damn it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, shit.
yeah.
Okay, so on this podcast, every single guest that comes on, and you said you've gotten yourself a little accustomed to some of the people that I've had on. You've watched or listened and such. So on the podcast, we have a thing called Cracking Questions. It's where fans write in questions to us, and anywhere from dirty, clean, in between.
Sure.
We answer them all. We
Okay.
try to. We haven't
Okay.
done it in a while. We answered one or two here and there, but we want to get an episode where we just do a full-blown Cracking Question episode. So when we have a guest on, we completely narrate it to you. So you, on the fly, with no build-up, what is your Cracking Question to the goons? And it can't be, where can you see this podcast in 5 years?
Okay, because I bet
Shout out
everybody
Elijah.
asks you that. Yeah. It's like, well, in a nicer basement. No, this basement is great, but I thought that was funny. No,
It was good. It was good. It was good. You should have saw when Chris Harvey was down here, dude. When Chris Harvey first came here, he goes, "What the fuck, y'all?" We just had this basement flood right before it, too. We had a nice red rug here, and it got fucking ruined. And so he comes down here, and we got fans on the thing, and he's like, "What the hell are y'all doing down here?"
You can only see the podcast, but it's a very hostage situation.
Every single person that comes down to this
that
basement,
wall over
he
there.
walked to the door. He was the first person that did AJ. When AJ came down, AJ's got the golden retriever energy, so he comes down and he just opens the door and basically goes in. He's like, "What's over here?" You stopped at the door and was like, "Hold up, wait a minute," and you're like, looked at the curtain and you're like, "Is this?" I got to go through this shitty, weird-looking door. Oh, my God. And you're like, this is wild. And you started walking. I'm like, oh, God, just go into the room where it's kind of cool.
go.
You got it.
Yeah.
You got it.
No, so I do have a question.
What is it?
So, and it's individual. So, because you guys are all one podcast, but it's individual. So, what is something on the podcast that you think you do well at, and what is one thing that you think you could get better at with regards to podcasting?
That's a good-ass question, for real.
And it's individual because, I'm sure as a podcast, you guys have goals. You guys have things collectively, but individually, what is something that you think you could do better at?
Okay, so what is something that you do good at and something you could do better?
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I see him cooking over there.
He's
You want
like,
to
I
go?
just think, what?
Do you got it? Do you want to? Do you want
I'm
to go?
trying to think of what I'm good at. Is my thing.
And you came up
There's
with
a-
some insightful questions. So,
There's a
you know.
lot I can do better at. That's for sure.
I can answer right now. The thing that I do good at, I've always thought of myself as a quarterback. So, like, I want to take lead. I want to be able to just get hands-on control and just, like, really try and make sure everything is straightforward, try and make sure
Sure.
everything is good.
And you need that on a podcast because otherwise there's dead air time.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Yeah. Well, besides, like, of course, like, on the pod dead air, but, like, offside, like,
Sure.
outside, like, I'm consistently killing the shit out of Nick when it comes to stuff. And, like, Nick's like, bro, like, what is happening?
Get off
We're
my
doing a lot.
back.
We're doing a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's kind of like you need somebody in that group,
Yeah.
and also in that same atmosphere. And it's something I'm working on. It's to release that a little bit. To work on better is to make sure that everybody feels like they're holding the same amount, and like not necessarily work related, but is just value. Is like I want you to feel the exact same. And like, oh, I love these fucking dudes. Like they're my brothers. So I want them to feel as if this podcast is at what you just gave me. You just gave me.
Yeah.
All right, I like some of these people. You got some fucking headaches over here. But I think, truthfully, just giving the power a little bit so then, because I'm a control freak. I fucking know that. We all know that. Nick, you don't got to say anything. But just having it to where everybody can, put their hand on. And, since that has happened, where's a potential, and it might happen, but a cornhole tournament and such. And, Nick's having these ideas and such that are really fucking good, and little snippets that are sick. And so, like, us doing this, we've been able to, since I did that, we've got a fucking gambling episode. We've got, guests every week and shit.
Yeah.
So that's my answer. It's just letting these people actually do something.
Yeah.
For sure. Don't look at me like he said, why are you gonna finish off something nice like that, bro?
I like it. I love you too, dog. Something I think I'm good at is I've gotten a lot better at editing our audio,
Sure.
but there's always room for improvement. Like learning how to actually, like for my compressors and equalizers, what the actual levels should be, not based off of what one person uses or this
Sure.
podcast uses. Find what works for us.
I
I guess I was kind of 2 in 1. Like I did something. I kind of like
No,
what's something you could be better at now?
something I could be better at. Posting our fucking titles.
Dude, it's the funniest shit, bro. We got
Posting our titles, dude.
Dude.
Oh my god.
Well, he'll have
It's
the
just,
raw
like,
title.
recently.
He'll have the raw title. Recently, it's fucking horrible. Like
Recently, I just
he
started-
had it here and there, but every weekend we post 3 now a weekend.
Yeah.
So every weekend there's one that's just like Monday, baby, and I'm like. That's not the fucking title. That's not the description. There's no description. It's just Monday, baby, or Friday, goons, or something stupid.
It's
so
Monday,
like-
baby.
like, that's all it is. It's just like it's somebody, and like there's been people, and shout out you fucking goons, dude. There's been people that go into the Boogered Up at 8:00 in the morning when this drops, and they go click and play. They'll see it says Monday, baby, and they're like, we'll find out.
It sounds like something Trump would do. Trump would totally make a podcast and just be like, "We're just gonna call this Tuesday, okay?" And
Drop it on Wednesday.
and
but
then
we're gonna
next,
call it
we're dropping it on Wednesday, but I think this is Tuesday. And and next week, if we come up with a quinundrification where we have to post again on a Tuesday, we'll just call it Tuesday 2. Part 2. Okay, Part 2. Part 2.
Dude, no. Funny as it is with him, I was hoping he would answer it this way. A lot of people listen to this podcast because of him and the antics that he will pull on this, because it's for like direction of it. You see, like it just in the atmosphere of it, he'll ask some off the wall questions and such. I try and make it structured and I try and make it straight up. And like, I want to ask these good questions. I'll make funny jokes, but like, I want to follow a rail. He's the one that people are like, I listen. I've had people actually
He's
tell
like,
me,
so
I
in your
listen.
lifetime, how many
like, when
boogers
does
have you
it
grabbed
go
out of your
left?
nose?
No, dude, no. It's I'm listening purposely just to hear the wild, stupid shit that Nick will curveball you with.
That's fair.
I want it to be a thing where Nick will say some shit and it halts you. And if
And
it
you
halts
need
you,
that,
it
though.
works.
You
Oh,
need
100%.
that. Yeah.
That's why we've been able to
otherwise
do
it's
what
just
we've been
an
doing.
interview. Like a podcast works because the flow is like, obviously
Right.
there's an interview kind of feel, but like it's also just kind of a hang.
Right, I'm
Like,
like, I
100%.
want to, I'm all about having fun. I'm like, we're down
Yeah.
here, like, I don't want them to get bored with like these like these routine questions.
How
I'm
many
sure
years
if
have you
they've
been doing this?
It's unbelievable that you just
How
said that
old
I
are
have
you?
bored of routine
No,
questions.
like-
I'm out here trying
no,
to
like,
think.
It's
guys.
like if they've been on other shows, like I'm sure they get asked like.
But you
these-
need it's true. But you need both though, because if you don't have both, like if you're just purely doing a fun podcast, you won't have a lot of material
Right.
because you need things to spark
Yeah.
the crazy rants and raves.
100%.
And then if you're just doing the questions,
That shit's
it's boring. It's so
Right.
boring. And like you said, if you've done other podcasts, it's like, well, we've heard this before.
Right.
Why would a guest want to come on and then say, hey guys, I was on this podcast?
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Most of the
like-
time, if you do that, they'll be like, yeah, I guess I'll post it.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
That's why I'm
It's
like,
like-
I'd rather ask you something like, you do 200 voices. What's your favorite one? I'm gonna be like, so you're walking down the street and you see chewed up bubble gum that's like in a puddle, still got flavor, or you got some chicken nuggies but the container's open. Which one you picking? You gotta eat.
That's a crazy ass question,
You
bro.
gotta throw
That
one
came
in
off
there.
the cuff
Is
too,
it bad?
and I
You know what I'm
fucking
saying?
love
You
that
know
Is
what I'm
question.
it bad that
bro.
I answered it immediately?
I did too in my head.
He said chicken nuggets. That's the answer. Like you
Yeah.
can't.
Them
real?
bitches open.
Who's
up.
eating
But
the
they're
bubble
open.
gum? I don't
but
care.
they're
the
open.
gum
So?
is in a puddle that's already been chewed.
First
Is it
off,
wait? It's in a puddle. Hold on,
Second
is it in a
off,
puddle?
It's a
or is-
puddle.
What
Like-
stage of life am I at that I'm considering these options? It's like,
You're like
what-
10 or 11. You're like
what has
10 or 11.
How long
happened?
have I been homeless?
What's my level of homeless?
You're like 10, 11. You're questioning.
Homeless, craziest thing I've ever seen. Sorry, this is random, but like I don't get to tell this story to anybody. So
Fucking
the
hit
other day, I'm driving and I'm getting off my exit in Elyria. There's it's like the highway goes this way towards Toledo, and then you get off and it's like a down ramp. And on this down ramp, it's all like grassy slope, and usually there's a couple homeless people with their signs out. Standing like right on the exit, like a lot of times they do, and I pull up, and first off, I see the sign because I always just look at the signs. Like I don't necessarily look at the people. I like to look at the reason because like you look at the people, you start formulating a notion, whether good, bad, whatever, about the person. You read the sign, you're like, this is why. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I like
so
that.
I read the signs. So I look at the sign, homeless vet looking for work, this, that, and the other. And then my vision slowly pans out from the sign. And this dude is sitting in a canoe. he's sitting in a whole ass canoe. And I'm like, first off,
Where the fuck you get that?
where
canoe?
did he get the canoe?
How the
Second
hell did you get
second
it?
off, he's in grass. It's like it's not like we're in like Italy and he's like homeless.
Dude, I'm
homeless
fucking
in a boat.
bro.
Oh,
He's
on a romantic
He's
fucking
got a
boat.
boat. So first thing in my head, I'm thinking, okay, did someone driving by just go, you know what? I don't have food,
I don't
but
got
I
money.
do have a canoe in the back. Do you want this? Like I don't know, like how he got the canoe.
Dude.
Second, I pan over a little bit more, and he has a bear, like the stuffed bears that are like the size of a human that you can get from like Cedar Point. You know, you win those like you win those games. It's like here, shoot these ducks, and then you get these giant bears. Like so. This had to have been some situation. Some kids coming home. Some kids, right? Like, no one has decided to give this man a job. They're like, here, I've got a canoe and a human-sized teddy bear,
I don't
but
got
a
any
job,
money.
you're out of luck.
I don't got any money, but I got a used cap gun. Here you go.
Dude, what the fuck are we doing?
To top it all off, he had a tiny bike. He had
Like
a tiny bike.
like the jigsaw bike?
like those bikes that are made for humans, like full-size humans, but they're tiny, like trick
Yeah,
bikes.
yeah.
First off, I don't understand those. Like, who's sitting at a boardroom and the one guy's like, Johnson, we need to figure out a way to make bikes exciting. They've been the same shit for 45 years. And Johnson goes, well, sir, we've got an idea for a tiny bike. It's like a regular bike, but it's tiny. And he's like, that's it.
That's it.
That's the one, and they put it out. So I don't know what the use is for those.
Put it on Kickstarter.
So how does? So obviously, I don't know how this guy got the canoe. I don't know how he got the bear, but how did he get this tiny bike? I'm only picturing him beating up another full-sized adult that had this tiny bike.
What the
And then
dude?
him pedaling away on the tiny bike.
Dude, this had to be the longest
Like,
red light of your life.
It was,
bro.
and all this is. I have ADHD, so I think of these things like that.
Right,
that.
right,
and
right.
I'm just like, this is, and so then, of course, as I'm driving away, I chuckle because I'm picturing him on the tiny bike, holding the canoe and the teddy bear, trying to get I don't know where because he doesn't have a home. But it's like and I have not
Dude,
seen this guy since.
He's taking the
so
canoe.
I don't know
to
what
his
he did
van.
with the canoe.
Dude, he
Down
went
by
with
the river.
that. He went with that bear out to Lake Erie and just had a fucking blast, dude.
I mean, he's got a houseboat now.
Yeah,
I
a
guess.
a houseboat, dude. He's out there on the water living, man.
Yeah.
That's
Got some new
unbelievable.
wheels. Yeah.
But I just thought that was
my
funny.
God,
I'm
what
like,
a
I don't
fucking
have
time.
anything but this Kodak
And that's-
camera,
and that's the
you
kind
can
of-
take 3 photos left in it though.
And that's the kind of story. Like if you saw that, you'd be like, no one else will believe that. Like, he
You just had to be
Yeah.
there.
and for all three of those things, like a tiny bike, okay, it's conceivable that a homeless person has a bike. I've seen them all over the place. But it's also conceivable that they have a giant bear. Like if someone was just like, I don't have much.
It's a body
but-
pillow.
Yeah, it's a pillow. Like they need those. But a canoe. and then all three of those things together is just like, what?
This guy's got the world. This
The
ain't a
world.
He's got
bro.
water transportation and land transportation.
He has everything and nothing all at once.
That you're not lying with that.
that
That's
was beautifully
fucking
phrased. Holy shit.
Yeah, he's like, I ain't got much, but I do have a canoe.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
That's so funny.
I
Cody
just
Ray,
thought that was
you
strange.
you didn't answer his cracking question.
Yeah, sorry, I tangent,
No,
but-
the homeless story was fucking hilarious.
Fuck.
What?
I'm kidding.
Jesus Christ!
Bro, I think you want to wrestle. You want to wrestle?
wrestle.
You want
Covered in peanut butter though.
You want to wrestle,
I'll be the jelly.
babes. Covered in peanut butter and jelly. Because I like jelly.
That'd be one messy match.
donuts are delicious, am I? Homie, you don't need any more donuts. You're getting fat. Sorry, continue.
So good. Oh my god.
People on podcast.
I have such a question on that, but I want you to get through with it real quick. Go with what you got.
Fuck, I don't know. I'm lost again. No,
Okay, go.
things that I need to improve on, probably.
Go with the fucking good part first, guy. What are you doing? Go with the what are you good at?
No.
No.
Probably consistency is like one thing that I need to work on and I want to work on the
Sure.
most, like being more vocal and talking more, and also like when it comes to side projects.
You don't want to
being
just
more-
be the man in the chair.
Yeah, I'm like I don't always want to be Silent Bob. I'm trying to
I love
Trying
it.
to-
Great
trying to-
Trying to be
reference.
loud, Bob, baby.
Loud
yeah,
Bob.
trying to get it in there. Crazy Bob, maybe. Who knows?
Shout out, Crazy Bob. Here soon.
Oh, that crazy shit.
And then things that I'm good at, I would say, like bringing like a different angle to things sometimes. Like
Yeah.
he's the point guard, so he likes to keep going, and then sometimes I'll throw out there like, "What if we do it this way?" And then it's like,
The
"Oh,
little
that's
the
not."
old alley oop every now and then he throws.
like a lot of
Sure.
the times it sounds stupid, but I don't know.
Oh,
Try
this
to throw
man's
out-
full of them. That's
throw out
legit.
suggestions
them
or
alley-oops.
That's
ideas.
legit
or-
for sure.
Them
I
dunks,
don't
two-handed slams.
No, that's great. I love that. Also, your
Love it.
one-liners are fucking hilarious. Everybody that leaves here immediately goes, "Oh yeah, Cody Ray, just a man, a few words, but those words are fucking impactful."
I try to make them work. Like I
try
try
to
to
make
make
'em-
like the most use of my words. Yeah.
Have any of you guys ever thought about doing stand up? Like, have you ever been like, I want to go to an open mic and do
So,
Yeah.
we already
Ah.
announced this on Friday's episode.
it? Oh, okay.
So, but this is Monday's episode, so everybody already knows about it, and we're gonna be promoting the shit out of this. We were originally, our idea was we were gonna go hit an open mic. We were gonna go vlog an open
Okay.
mic and just see what happens.
Yeah.
But we got a little more power in our hands now that we can kind of hear.
The power you
what we're
hold,
gonna do,
yeah.
what we did is we worked with a local business,
Okay.
Moonshine Nightclub.
Nice.
They did a comedy show not too long ago. It didn't work out well for them, so we were like, hey, let's do some shit together. So actually, November 17th is our very first show that we are hosting.
Heck yeah.
And we are hosting comedy shows. I'm going to be opening for the first one of it.
Okay.
And we have a local dude, super fucking funny dude, Matt Roca, and we have Bill Squire headlining that show.
Bill's the man.
Bill's the fucking legend.
He's
dude.
great.
We love Bill Squire. We actually have a Bill Squire ticket on our table from last year from the Christmas Kwanzaa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's still sitting there. So that is actually what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing that, and it's
Okay.
going to be every month probably at this bar we're going to be rotating hosting. He's going to be doing the second show. The second show is
Heck yeah.
still not to be announced. We're not going to announce it yet.
Okay,
There's-
okay.
Oh, but it's
Where it's
fire.
I'll tell you, it has the winner of the
Okay.
So he's,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we want you to be on it too, so just keep your ears open.
Okay,
We're
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
having
yeah.
you come
I
through.
I
for
will.
sure.
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, we got that shit up there, and it's
Cool.
It's I didn't sleep, dude. When we had this whole thing, we talked about it on Fridays. We talk a little bit here on this one. We didn't sleep till 2:00 for different reasons. He was at 2:00 staying awake trying to figure out, because we're making a stage, we're making a fucking backdrop, we're making a whole bunch of shit. We're making it way more than it needs to be because we want to make sure that the club is seen as a club and not just a spot to do comedy.
Sure.
We want to create something serious.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sleep because I realized I'm getting on fucking stage and I'm gonna try and say jokes and fun stuff. I've been on stage doing metal shows.
So you're gonna do stand up.
I'm gonna, every one of us is gonna be doing stand up.
Okay.
Every show is gonna be rotating, and the first
Okay.
one's me because of it's just gonna be
Quarterback.
There it is. Said quarterback. But I couldn't sleep till 2:00. I was like, fuck, I'm actually gonna be involved in this situation.
It's wild.
think-
It's
My biggest fear with it is being like to read the room, having a mixture of like age groups.
Yeah.
Because it's a nightclub and there
Yeah.
is a mixture of age groups. I've been there quite a bit. My biggest worry is like trying to read it for my material. Like I want people to still laugh, but I don't want other people to be like, oh, he's so dirty.
My biggest piece of advice, not that I'm anyone to
Please.
give advice, but do it sober. Like nothing in your system. Because the nerves that adds. No, I know, and that sounds like terrifying or awful.
that
But,
sounds
like,
terrifying for
I
fairy
know,
tale too to
I
go up
know,
there.
I'm gonna
but
still
the
get high.
but well, getting high is like it is what it is. But like there are people that have like never done comedy before, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna drink before, and then go up there, and it'll be fine. And then they get up there, and then not that they make a fool out of themselves, but it's just. And not that there's some people that go up, they're not even drunk. They just had like a couple,
Yeah.
so they're loose. But like, there is something that is really beneficial about the nerves that beer or alcohol takes away. Like if you go up on stage with the nerves that you have, like people, I'm gonna have a drink to calm the nerves.
Yeah.
But it's like the nerves are there because it's exciting.
I
It's there
understand
because-
that.
It's there because it's something to be used.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
new,
get up there,
yeah.
you're like, I'm nervous. If that's gone, you're not going to present the same as if you
Right.
have those
Okay.
nerves. If you have those nerves, you're like,
You might hit
The
some,
be-
you
the
might
best-
punch a joke
100,
differently
yep.
than what you might
Yeah.
say if you have alcohol. Okay.
yeah. So
the
like
best
I
way that I
always
could
tell,
explain that. Sorry to
No,
interrupt you.
you're
The
good,
best
you're
way to
good.
explain
Yeah.
that, because I had that when we first started doing shows and such.
Yeah.
It was where you were already climbing up a mountain and you were almost there, and you felt that rush of where you were almost there. And so if you were drinking, in a sense, for what you're saying on that
Yeah.
one, you're never going to reach the top to be able to slide down and enjoy it,
Yeah.
because you're going to be consistently climbing because you're not realizing that you're almost at
well,
the
you
peak.
use that alcohol, you have that emotion blocker.
Uh-huh.
So like even if you kill,
Yep.
you don't really recognize it. It's just kind of like, yeah, cool, they laughed. But like if you have the emotional payout of I fought these nerves and the nerves are there, the release when they go away, when people
Beautiful.
are actually laughing, is
Absolutely beautiful.
butter.
I
It's
believe, yeah.
great.
I'm
So that's like
excited
my
for that,
one piece of
actually.
advice for people, because like afterwards, who cares? Like go out and have a drink.
Also,
like-
with that, what you're
but-
saying, we learned a lot because we've been to a decent amount of stand-up
Sure.
comedy shows, but going and doing and hosting the comedy contest,
Yeah.
seeing that firsthand between people that may have been a little higher than they needed to be or a little drunker, and they've and the worst part that I would say in that
You get
is when
secondhand
they.
embarrassment from that.
No, not even
too.
that. I didn't get. I don't ever get embarrassment until they admit it straight
Oh,
onto
no.
the mic, or where they
Yeah.
announce it, where they go, "Sorry, I might have. I'm a little high."
They're
Or
like,
if they
yeah.
say that, if they announce that they
Yeah.
are already fucked up, they're puzzled, and now they have to address the room as to why they're like that.
Yeah.
You can whenever I get drunk, I hate showing that I'm drunk.
Sure.
I don't want people to see me lower because
Sure.
if anything happens, I want to be at 100%.
Right.
And so whenever I go up on, like, if I'm gonna go up on stage and I'm a little buzzed, or like when I'm drunk at home, like if I end up fucking around, I have a couple shots on the pod, whatever, and I'm drunk, I don't want my wife to look at me and be like, "Oh, you're just drunk." So I'm knocking sober in its face, and then like after a couple of days, I'm like, "Did you know I was drunk that day?" And she's like, "No, I had no idea." And I'm like, "I hit it." So just that kind of deal of like the masking of it is cool, but whenever you have to take the mask off, that's when I look at it and I'm like, bro, like you gotta figure this one out.
Yeah.
Like it's not a problem. It's like you don't have a problem. You might have fucked up that night.
Yeah.
But like that situation in particular, you could have been a better you.
Yeah. And I think there's also comedians that like obviously for first timers it's a little different because you've never done it before. So like getting fucked up beforehand, you're like it makes sense. It's not advisable, but it makes sense because like you're so nervous, you're so scared, you don't know if anyone's gonna laugh at you, whatever. But like there are a bunch of people who repetitively go to these mics or go to wherever they do stand up, and they're just like that because they don't think they're funny.
Mm-hmm.
And because they don't think they're funny, they get drunk, and then they don't try anything new. They just do the same stuff, which isn't funny, and it perpetuates a cycle.
Right.
And it's tough because there are a lot of funny people in the world, but there's a lot of people who just like deal with stuff, and then they can't like find the way to like just let it go healthily. Like I go to a lot of open mics to work my stuff in between doing paid gigs and stuff. And there's a lot of funny people, but then there's a lot of people that go up on stage and I'm like, whoa, like I know, like then afterwards they'll like shake my hand. They'll be like, you were really funny, and I'm really drunk, and I'm like I don't know. There's like.
That's where that embarrassment comes into play.
And it's like
just the announcement, man.
It's like like I feel bad on a level of like it helps me feel better about my life, I guess, which is sad, but like it's just like it's an interesting thing that that's like that. So that's like my advice to people when they're going on stage. Like try to do it with as clear of a mind and
I'll
like
probably
body
have
as you
like
can.
a beer or two while I'm there,
sure.
but I'm gonna make sure I have food and make sure
but,
I'm
like,
well.
get the food, get the fluids. Like you want to make sure, like I'm not saying don't drink at all, but I'm saying like make sure that you can feel the nerves.
Yeah.
Because that is so healthy. People don't think they're like, nerves, I need to get rid of these. Like, how do I get rid of these? It's like, don't. Like, obviously, you don't want to be so nervous that you go up there and you're like, Mitch McConnell, like,
dog. If I go up on that goddamn stage and I go,
right.
I'm not even nervous about like getting up there. It's like I guess just like reading the room was my biggest issue because like speaking in front of people, I don't really have a problem with. Or anything like that.
But yeah, no, I just like nerves are such a good friend, and I tell people that because they're thinking the opposite.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's like what I've always got out of it, but that's good advice too. Like I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah, and I got some of that from a book I
anymore.
read, which was crazy. Like I was reading this book. It's called The Art of Mastering Stand-Up, and the guy who wrote it, he works for the Comedy Institute in New York. I think he ran it or started it, but he wrote this book, and it was recommended by a friend of mine who learned under this guy, and it was just I learned so much from that, just about the art of stand-up in general. And he read that because I usually have my pre-show drink is a Negroni. It's a delicious drink.
What is that?
A Negroni. It's like Prosecco and like it's a I'm trying to describe the flavor, but it's an orange based drink. So there's but anyways, so it's a nice beverage. It's not cheap, but it's a nice like pre-show. Yeah. So I sip that and I like the flavor, but like he was saying, like when you go to do gigs, like try not to have anything in your system because the nerves are beneficial. And I'd never thought about that before. So now that's like my thing.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's something that we'll take and we'll make sure that we...
and that's good for anything too. Not even
sure.
stage, just like things in general that you're nervous about. Like some nerves, like a lot of times you're not getting nervous for things that aren't good.
Mm-hmm.
You get nervous for more things that are good because you want them to go well because they're supposed to. You don't get
nervous necessarily for things that are bad. Like obviously, if a cop pulls you over, you're a little bit nervous because like that's just human.
Right.
But like 9 times out of 10, you're getting nervous because your wife's having a baby or your girlfriend is this, that, and the other, and those are good things.
Right.
So that's interesting. I never thought about that. You think of nerves as negative.
I like that, definitely. Well, thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
And we'll be keeping in contact with the show that I want to make sure we get.
Sure.
I want to hear what the city has to deal with all these impersonations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But everybody, Noah, Ryan, everybody, round of applause. Thank you very much for coming onto
thank
the
you for
Boogered Up
having me.
podcast. Can you let these people know where they can find you at the local shows? What are you doing next? Where can they find you on social media?
Yeah, so on social media, my handle is the same everywhere. It's at @thereal_NRP. So it's just THEREAL_NRP. Facebook, my Facebook is just Noah Ryan Picari. My stage name, I go by Noah Ryan because my last name is a little hard to remember, but I have my full name up there just because I think it looks cool. But
Picari's a hard ass name. We went
It's
with
cool.
Noah Ryan purposely because of that. Because we remembered you said that.
Yeah.
But Picari's a fucking hard
It's a
ass
cool
last
name, and I
dude.
love it. But
Cool.
and it's not hard to like remember necessarily. But Noah Ryan is just easy to remember.
Yeah.
So,
Definitely.
but yeah, that's where you can find me. And then as far as shows that I have coming up, let me see. It is November 2nd.
Yeah, if you gotta lock it in,
I'm
lock
gonna pull
it
it
in.
up. I'm gonna lock it in.
You don't
'cause
want
I
to let people
remember.
know and then they come to a wrong place.
A wrong place. Yeah, exactly.
Is that the new one?
Yeah,
You got the fancy ass new one?
I did. I got it for the content creation because it's needed. But it's called Once Upon a Shit Show, and it's November 2nd at the Quarry in Avon Lake at 8 p.m. It's got a really good lineup: John Armstrong, Brian Sternick, Brett Thomas, Cam Godfrey, Marty Malloy, and myself. So
Marty.
it's a really good lineup.
Dude,
really good
Marty's
people.
sick.
John's
Marty is
another,
funny.
Boogered Up.
Yeah, John was on the podcast earlier. Yeah,
John's
he was-
great.
Yeah, John was
Great
sick.
guy.
I wasn't
Great
here
guy.
for half the episode. I come down.
Yeah.
I'm like, what in tarnation's going on here? And they killed it.
Yeah, no,
But
but
I want to get Marty on. I don't know if we can get
Marty
Marty
would
to
be
come all the
great.
way over here, dude. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I don't
another
know.
question we had real quick before we end this off.
Yeah.
What's a guest that you would recommend to come on the Boogered Up podcast?
That's a really good. Oh, honestly, it's a non-comedian, which is cool.
That's
but,
totally fine.
My buddy Josh lives in Norwalk, like I said. He works for NASCAR. He works for the NASCAR Truck Series out of Sandusky.
What?
He works for Thor Sport, and he is a road guy for Matt Crafton's team. So he'd be really cool to have on just because he goes on the road. He can kind of give you ins and outs of the NASCAR world.
Yeah,
and,
that'd be
That
so
is
sick.
so sick. Yeah, a different
and
avenue
he would
for
love,
sure.
He would
And
love
that's
to
not
do
far
it
from
too.
here either.
No, he would totally love to come by, have a beer, and just talk about it.
Dude, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Hey.
I'll give you his information, and
Yeah.
you guys can hit him up because he would be honored, and he wants to get to the point where he can race his own car. So the more like
Exposure.
more
Yeah,
exposure
definitely.
he can get, that'd
Yeah,
be
we'll
great.
get him
And
on.
We'll
he's,
work into
he's
that.
he's a really talkative guy too. So like he seems a little like, I don't know, like he and his brother, they're weird like this, and their dad's the same way. But they seem like they'd be like not talkative people, and then the minute you ask them a question, it's like, yo, 3 hours later, bro, I need to go.
Right, I love that. I love that.
So
I
yeah,
love
Josh
that.
would be a cool guy to have on.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Once again, Noah Ryan.
yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you
guys.
so much for coming on
Yeah,
to
of
the
course.
podcast,
Of
man.
course.
It's been a fucking
Yeah,
great
thank
time. Make sure you guys are downloading, subscribing, doing everything, and
thing.
make sure you guys
Follow.
are paying attention. Oh yeah, honestly, we'll wait for this. Hold on. Make sure you guys are paying attention to the announcements that we have for the comedy show. Hope that you guys all show up. Super sick. Please go to his show. That's out there. What was it? November 2nd?
Yeah, November 2nd.
November 2nd.
The Quarry, Avon
Dude's
Lake.
fucking hilarious. Please listen to a stand-up. It's fucking great. Follow him on all platforms. And now, can we please, for the first time without Cody Ray yelling "shut up" on this one, can we please have a special guest come in and sign us out?
Yeah.
You think on it.
We're gonna do Sylvester Stallone because I was messing around with it later. But it's a great podcast. It's a lot of fun. These guys are great. It's another episode of the Boogered Up podcast. Hey.